Chapter 317. Who knew? The man's eyes were clear and noble, but his smile was beautiful. His deep and magnetic voice was filled with laughter, making people blush and their hearts race. Yun, how can a god dote on you as much as I do? Bei Yun's heart skipped a beat and she quickly changed the topic. Brother, why are you here so late today? I went to pick up an important person. Huashidu put down the cake and picked up the red wine glass again. Bei Yun stopped his hand. Brother, there's no need to drink at this time. There were so many people now. Huashidu looked drunk, she really did not want others to see him like this. The man bent down again. His eyes were faint and abstinent, but the corners of his upturned eyes were inexplicably seductive. His low and magnetic voice tickled her ear. Then Yun, tell me first, what is your wish? Bei Yun looked straight at the man. Suddenly, she said, Huashidu. Yes. The light in the hall was gentle and enveloped the man's handsome and superior face. His eyes were filled with light. Suddenly. Not far away, old Master Qin's voice sounded. Brother, I still have something on. I'll leave first. After Bei Yun came back to her senses, she raised her eyes and turned to leave after speaking to Huashidu. At this moment, Yu Hanran walked over. I just heard that the original eldest daughter of the Qin family specially found someone to cause trouble at your little girl's birthday party and took away many guests. Yes. Yu Hanran did not understand what Huashidu meant. He could not help but ask, what's wrong, Master Du? Are you planning to let her off? Huashidu sneered. His pale-colored eyes were light and cold. I don't like to be calculative, but I have to be calculative on behalf of my little girl. When the guests saw that the people walking over were actually Zhongxing Lin, Director Lin Longjun, the former principal of Yunqing, the Dean of Biology of Yunqing University, and the others, they could not help but widen their eyes. Were they all here to attend Bei Yun's birthday party? From the successors of the corporation to the big shots in the academic circle. This was a famous scene that they had only seen once in their lives. Grandma. Bei Yun went up and held Director Lin's hand. Her eyes were curved. Mr. Hu came to pick me up just now, but I wanted to invite a few old friends over, so I asked Mr. Hu to come back first. Director Lin looked at Bei Yun with a smile, her eyes full of love. She reached out and patted her head. I won't blame Grandma, right? I've never told you about my past. Grandma is a very important person to me. Bei Yun's lips curved. When Zhongxing Lin heard this, he couldn't help but feel jealous. If he had picked up Bei Yun back then, he wouldn't have to think of ways to steal her away now. Longjun is really lucky. Zhongxing Lin sighed and said faintly, I also want a granddaughter. At this time, Bei Yun turned his attention to the others. Mr. Zhong. The others are. Bei Yun glanced at the others. The former principal of Yunqing, the dean of biomedicine, and the current principal, Professor Yu Guang. Director Lin introduced them to Bei Yun. She was also puzzled. How did Bei Yun know Zhongxing Lin? This old man was arrogant and had a bad temper. Very few juniors could stand him. After Bei Yun greeted them one by one, she invited them to sit inside. Qin Lang, who was busy receiving the guests, almost sprained his ankle when he heard this table discussing which faculty Bei Yun should apply to. Chapter 318. The principals and deans were very enthusiastic. Zhongxing Lin resisted. Why do you want to enroll in physics and biology? Gu is suitable for computers. Old Zhong, Gu doesn't know how to use computers. Lin Longjun frowned. Zhongxing Lin looked at Lin Longjun in disbelief. He was about to refute when Bei Yun interrupted him. Grandma, I can learn. Everyone was puzzled when they heard Bai Yunji's words. Why would a girl be interested in computers? Zhong Xinglin was also puzzled. If Bai Yunji's computer skills were not taught by Lin Longjun, then who taught her? Computer skills are very difficult. Daughter, let's change to another one. The dean of biology tried to dissuade her. Zhong Xinglin was speechless. You don't know how good this girl's computer skills are. It's okay. I'm interested. Hearing Bai Yunji's words, the others were speechless. The information faculty had really benefited. However, then, the dean of biology kindly reminded Bai Yunji that she could transfer to another faculty in the first year. Hearing this, Zhong Xinglin had the urge to rush up and kill this old man. There were only 1 or 2 good seedlings in their computer science department. How could he harm them? Platinum Gold Hotel. The guests were discussing and laughing. I heard that there's going to be a big mess at the Qin family. All the guests have run away. What? Isn't she celebrating her birthday at Uther residence? If people are running away, then the charm of the real daughter doesn't seem to work. The other lady couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Yes, I heard that the real daughter has a bad temper. It's a pity that such a beautiful face was given to an ignorant and incompetent person. Otherwise, where do you think the vase came from? That's true. We made the right choice. The lady holding the wine glass smiled proudly. I don't know what the people who went to the Qin family are thinking. Don't tell me they really think that a piece of trash entering the Qin family can bring them any benefits. Just as the 2 ladies were chatting happily, the husband of one of them walked over. Let's go back. The middle-aged man looked a little embarrassed. What's wrong? Did something happen? Why are we going back now? That's right, President Tao. Why did you bring Madame Tao back for no reason? Aren't we still talking about the Qin family? She's really a rich young lady. Before the woman could continue, she saw President Tao's face darken. The Bai Corporation, the Bo Corporation, the U Corporation, and the old madam of the Huo Corporation all went to Miss Qin's birthday party. In an instant, the smiles on their faces froze. How was this possible? Impossible. Is there a mistake? Madame Tao immediately asked. Chairman Tao rubbed his eyebrows, feeling regretful. What did I get wrong? Other than them, even Zhong Xinglin, Yu Guang, and those people from the academic world came. This time, I really stood on the wrong side. Until now, the only people Qin Youjiao could really rely on were Du Xiao and the president of Minglan Corporation. But in Bai Yunji, any one of them was a big shot that was usually out of reach. Let's go. President Tao pulled Madame Tao and left with a dark expression. The guests who were also mocking the Qin family in secret soon found out about this news. For a moment, the smiles on their faces froze like stone. How was this possible? A new elder young miss could invite so many immortals to her birthday party. Chapter 319. The people at the banquet were almost unable to laugh anymore. They felt that the people who came here to attend the banquet were fools. Then should we leave? Someone asked hesitantly. There's no need. The president of Minglan Corporation is here, so there's no need to go to Uther residence. Another person retorted. At this moment, everyone suddenly saw the president of Minglan Corporation walk out with a dark expression. Veterans General, what happened to you? Someone went up and asked with a smile. The president of Minglan Corporation glanced at him and gave a fake smile. Uther residence. With that said, the atmosphere froze. However, Qin Youjiao, who was playing the piano upstairs, did not know what had happened downstairs. Hurry up. If Master Du leaves, who else can I talk to about this contract? The veteran's general's expression did not look too good as he rushed to Uther residence with his secretary. As for the others, they could no longer put on a smile. The veteran's general had already run to Uther residence, so why were they staying here? Would they become a joke in the industry in a few days? At this moment, many people's expressions were ugly and they found an excuse to leave. Qin Youjiao, who had just finished playing the piano, could not help but look at Du Xiao and say with a smile, "I've embarrassed myself in front of Elder Du. No, it's already very impressive for you to have this standard at your age." Du Xiao looked at her in admiration. After that, Mrs. Qin said with a smile, "Yes, Jiao Jiao is really born smart in this aspect and likes classical music very much." Du Xiao nodded in satisfaction. In time, she will definitely become someone great. She was indeed a talented young pianist. Mrs. Qin's smile deepened. "I'm relieved to hear Master Du say this. Actually, all these years, Jiao Jiao has always wanted to find a teacher. I wonder if Master Du..." The guests downstairs should still be here, right? Du Xiao's sudden interruption made Mrs. Qin and Qin Youjiao's expressions freeze. They did not know if Du Xiao did it on purpose. Qin Youjiao nodded and said with a smile, "There are many guests downstairs. I'll go with you to greet them." After that, Qin Youjiao led Du Xiao out of the second floor, but who knew that when she reached the first floor, it was a completely different scene. Her expression suddenly changed. She glanced at the banquet where there were only 7 or 8 people left. Where are the others? At this moment, a waiter walked over. "Miss, there are too many guests leaving early today, so, only these few were left." The waiter didn't dare to finish his sentence. However, Qin Youjiao's expression still darkened. How could something like this happen at her birthday party? Do you know where they went? Qin Youjiao took a deep breath. "I don't know, but the veterans general of Minglan Group went to Uther residence." These words almost made Qin Youjiao break down on the spot. Why would the veterans general want to go to Uther residence? This was a big shot that Madame Qing had painstakingly brought over from the Qing family. "I understand." Qin Youjiao's face stiffened as she suppressed the anger in her heart. But suddenly, Du Xiao, who hadn't spoken much, asked, "Uther residence? Is Miss Yu Manran there too?" The waiter was stunned for a moment before he nodded instinctively. "Yes." "I'm sorry, Mrs. Qin, Miss Qin Youjiao. I still have something to do at Uther residence. I'll talk to the two of you when I have the chance in the future. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly ticket." Chapter 320. Qin Youjiao's face paled and she said immediately, "Old Master Du, if there's anything, you can go tomorrow. It's already late. Why don't you stay at Platinum Gold Hotel for the night?" If Du Xiao went too, wouldn't she really become a joke? Who knew? Du Xiao's attitude was firm. "No. I came here this time to ask Miss Yu for an explanation. She kept saying that she was busy, so how can I miss this opportunity?" With that said, Du Xiao ran out without looking back. This scene made the others not dare to speak when they saw Qin Youjiao's expression. Not many people came to attend a birthday party and they were all running to someone else's birthday party. Qin Youjiao's eyes were red and her lips were almost bleeding from biting them. She gritted her teeth. Did Bei Yunj get Big Brother and the rest to do something? Hearing this, the service staff replied softly, "I heard from a lady just now that many new rich people in the business world came from Miss Pei's side. The Bai Corporation, Bo Corporation, Yu Corporation, and Huo Corporation are all there." With that said, not only Qin Youjiao, even Mrs. Qin's face paled. Now they understood that it was indeed not the Qin family who did it, but that person from the Huo family. Perhaps the departure of the veterans general had something to do with this person from the Huo family. Qin Youjiao's expression was terrible and she could not help but go back to her room and cry. Uther residence. Du Xiao had just gone over when he saw the Veterans General being stopped at the door. Why isn't the Veterans General going in? The Veterans General's expression did not look too good either. You can't go in without an invitation. Previously, the Qin family had actually asked him if he wanted to come, but the Veterans General had already promised the Qing family, so he had deliberately rejected them. But who knew that there would be such a reversal? Even Master Du had gone to this real young lady's birthday party. I see. Du Xiao called Yu Manran, wanting to ask Yu Manran out. At the same time, Yu Manran's eyelids twitched when she received the call. She looked at Bai Yunj. This Du Xiao has been pestering me for a long time. It's because of your arrangement that he wants to look for you. No. Bai Yunj sat on the sofa calmly, her bright eyes full of charm. Yu Manran chatted with Du Xiao for a while, then covered the microphone and said to Bai Yunj, "They came all the way here, and I was too embarrassed to reject them. Now, I'm still at the entrance of the mansion, and I'm being stopped. Then bring him in first." Bai Yunj frowned without batting an eyelid. All right. Yu Manran quickly walked out and did not expect to see a familiar face. Hey, isn't this our Veterans General? You're an artist. Why are you here? The Veterans General's face darkened, and he was furious. Previously, the Veterans General had wanted to sleep with Yu Manran and was beaten up by Yu Manran. Since then, they had formed a grudge. It's none of your business. Yu Manran smiled, then looked at Du Xiao. Mr. Du, let me bring you in. Why can she bring people in? The Veterans General was very dissatisfied. Young lady just called and let Miss Yu's friend in. In an instant, the Veterans General's face darkened. He had never been treated like this in his life. After Yu Manran brought people in, even Du Xiao could not help but sigh. Every corner of this mansion could be said to be a work of art. This young lady of the Qin family could celebrate her birthday in such a place. Over here. Yu Manran greeted Bai Yunj and brought people forward. Chapter 321. This is old Mr. Du Xiao. After Yu Manran introduced Bai Yunj, he introduced Du Xiao. This is Bai Yunj. Hello. Bai Yunj smiled and shook hands with Du Xiao. After that, Bai Yunj asked unhurriedly, "May I know why old Mr. Du is looking for me?" These words stunned Du Xiao for a moment. Then, he reacted and widened his eyes in excitement. You are Yun. When Bai Yunj heard this, he turned around and asked Yu Manran, "Is that my name?" "That's right." Yu Manran said with a serious expression, "You don't know how popular a scientific researcher was a while ago. If you use this name, you will definitely be scolded for trying to gain popularity. So the company asked me to help you change your name. How is it? It sounds pretty good, right?" After Bai Yunj verified it, he turned to look at Du Xiao. "Old Mr. Du, you can speak now. I want to ask if Miss Pei has any interest in developing in the direction of music." Du Xiao was a little nervous. He didn't expect that this popular arranger, Wei Yuan, would be so young. "No, I just need money occasionally." Bai Yunj's words made Yu Manran's eyelids twitch. He didn't expect Bai Yunj to really define arranging as a part-time job. But Miss Pei is very talented. I won't be thick-skinned and say that I want to be Miss Pei's teacher, but if Miss Pei is willing, I'm willing to pave the way for Miss Pei. Du Xiao couldn't help but persuade her. "But what benefits will this bring to you, old Mr. Du?" Even Yu Manran couldn't help but ask. This was a top musician who was popular both at home and abroad. "I do have a favor to ask of Miss Pei. As the president of the International Musicians Association, I hope that Miss Pei can become a member of our International Musicians Association." Du Xiao smiled helplessly. "I have an obsession. I always hope that the International Musicians Association can have a person from country A. Unfortunately, when I was 6 or 7 years old, I had already migrated. I don't have a proper status. I won't develop in this direction, but if Elder Du thinks that I'm suitable to join the International Musicians Association, I will also consider it. Du Xiao's eyes lit up when he heard that Bai Yunj was willing to give in. Sure. That's naturally possible. Du Xiao gave Bai Yunj his contact number and smiled from ear to ear. I'll wait for your good news then, Miss Pei. Bai Yunj watched Du Xiao leave, but there was no emotion in his eyes. Father Pei, this is an invitation from the president of the International Musicians Association. Are you going or not? Yu Manran had just suppressed his excitement, but after Du Xiao left, he excitedly grabbed Bai Yunj's hand. Once the name of a member of the International Musicians Association was released, it would cause a sensation in the industry. After all, this was the first time the International Musicians Association had extended an invitation to someone from their country. Moreover, the president had personally invited him. Qin Youjiao was sucking up to Du Xiao because she wanted to build a relationship with him. After all, with her current aptitude, she could not enter the International Musicians Association. Think about it. Bai Yunj turned around and walked into the building. Yu Manran, who had caught up from behind, actively put in a good word for Du Xiao. Until the banquet ended. The guests had also arranged their rooms. However, when Bai Yunj pushed open the door of Building 7 of Yutha Residence, she found that the lights inside were dim. There seemed to be someone lying on the sofa. Brother. Bai Yunj walked closer and saw the man's figure clearly. The handsome and dignified man was leaning against the sofa lazily. His side profile was well-defined and his facial features were well-defined. Chapter 322. The man leaned against the sofa. The cold fragrance on his body was stained with the smell of alcohol. The 2 buttons on his collar were loose, revealing his exquisite collarbone. His exposed skin seeped into his firm chest that made people blush and their hearts race. It looked like a tempting crime scene. Bai Yunj's long eyelashes fluttered, hiding the thoughts in her eyes and a certain thought that was about to take action. Brother, are you asleep? Bai Yunj asked. However, after a while, the man leaning on the sofa did not move. You're sleeping so soundly. Bai Yunj muttered to herself. She rested her chin on her hand and gently brushed her index finger across the man's eyelashes. Why are you so good-looking? With that said. Suddenly. Bai Yunj's mind replayed what Yu Manran had said last time. The easiest ways to test your feelings are to hold hands, kiss, and make love. Her beautiful face was unreadable, but her gaze landed on the man's thin red lips. Suddenly. Bai Yunj called out softly again, brother. Seeing that there was no movement, Bai Yunj's lips suddenly curved. Her lazy and beautiful eyes made people unable to take their eyes off her. I'm sorry, brother. It's your union's birthday today. I want a birthday present. Bai Yunj's eyes curled up slightly. Her clear eyes looked harmless, but she said without any guilt, then brother, just take it that I secretly took advantage of you. With that said. Bai Yunj could not help but gently hold the man's hand. Her red lips moved closer to his warmth. This was just a very light touch, like a feather falling on the surface of a lake. When Bai Yunj raised her head again, her eyebrows moved. She muttered to herself, I don't seem to feel anything. What was going on? Suddenly. Bai Yunj's fingers seemed to move slightly. She looked up suddenly, her heart beating so fast that she abandoned all distracting thoughts. However, Huashidu did not wake up. Seeing this. Bai Yunj's hanging heart finally relaxed. Sure enough, when a person does something bad, they will definitely feel guilty. Hence, the guilty Bai Yunj could not wake Huashidu up. She could only go upstairs and find a thin blanket to cover the man before going upstairs silently. She didn't realize that her ears had turned red. She also didn't notice that the man on the sofa had slowly opened his eyes. His pair of pale and abstinent eyes had gradually darkened, hiding all the light in them. The next day, Huashidu came down from upstairs and realized that Bai Yunj had already left. Master Du, you didn't sleep last night. Tsing Su felt that there was something wrong with Master Du's state. He seemed to have something on his mind. But when he thought about it, he felt that something wasn't right. Master Du had always acted casually and had never taken anything to heart. How could he be troubled? Will the younger generation in your family take the initiative to get close to their elders? The man sitting at the table asked inexplicably with a calm expression. Of course I will. Tsing Su chuckled. I have a niece who really likes me. Then, to what extent would her most intimate actions be? Huashidu's eyes darkened. Kiss me. Tsing Su thought for a while. His little niece, who was 3 or 4 years old, liked to smear saliva on other people's faces. Huashidu fell silent and thought of the little girl's sneaky actions last night. He felt that this action was a little beyond his understanding. So much so that he didn't open his eyes immediately after waking up last night. Master Du, why are you suddenly concerned about this? Tsing Su was stunned. It's nothing. Huashidu glanced at him and said calmly, I just feel that this isn't very good. P.S. Master Du is going to start wooing people. Good guys, remember the monthly ticket. Chapter 323. What's wrong with that? I'm an elder, so it's only right. Hearing this, the man's eyes still looked indifferent, but there was an inexplicable aggressiveness in them. He snorted. Ridiculous. Tsing Su was speechless. As an elder, you have to know your limits. Don't let the younger generation misunderstand. You should give appropriate care. No one knew who Huashidu was talking to. Tsing Su scratched his head in confusion. Misunderstanding. Why would she misunderstand? What could a 3 or 4-year-old niece misunderstand? Go get the car and go to the company first. No emotions could be seen in Huashidu's noble and superior eyes as his tone was light. Yes. After Tsing Su left, Huashidu unconsciously caressed his thin red lips with the back of his fingers. He remembered what happened last night, including that secret kiss. It was as if there was still warmth on his lips. Huashidu hid the emotions in his eyes very well and his expression gradually returned to normal. This time, it was his fault for not paying attention and affecting the little girl's studies. Someone else had placed the child with him, but he had almost led her astray. At this thought, Huashidu felt that the matter was still a little difficult to deal with. He could not tell the little girl openly, or it would hurt her pride. But, Huashidu's current mood was still unclear. However, he could not do something like harming high school students. This morning, the headlines exploded. The Qin and Qing families' birthday banquets were all over the internet. Initially, everyone thought that the Qing family would definitely stand out for Qin Youjiao this time. However, who would have thought that the guests from the Qin family would expose themselves one by one? They were all terrifying, so much so that the anti-fans could not think of a good word for a moment. How could I forget back then? This Bai Yunj was raised by Director Lin. She is indeed the elder young miss of the scientific research field. Elder Zhong, Professor Yu Guang, and the rest are all there. It's not just the scientific research field. I know that the Qin family has a lot of connections. However, the successors of the top 5 companies in the country last year all went to Yutha residence to report. This is amazing. The big boss seems to have been collected by someone. Goodbye, is there really such a thing? The commenter above is wrong. The CEO of Minglan Corporation was stopped outside and not allowed to enter. I don't know about other things, but Minglong Group. Wasn't it rumored that he went to the Qing family? Originally, I went there. But I don't know why I suddenly ran out of Platinum Gold Royal Hotel and stood in front of Yutha residence for 2 hours. The netizens who saw this news could no longer describe their feelings at this moment. Let me reveal something, I guarantee it's true. Last night, the fake daughter invited 2 big shots. After they left, the number of guests could be counted with 2 hands. No way, no way, no way. Is this still the only person invited to our nearly 18 debutante ball? Doghead, is there a need to be jealous? He had to hand it to them. The entire internet was filled with hostility, and they were all worshipping money. So what if she's a real daughter? No matter how highly trash is praised, she's still trash. Yeah, she's not even a fake daughter. Neely's 18th prom invited a fake one, but they didn't invite the real one. She's bragging about the Neely 18 ball again, Jiao Fan, thumbs up, in the piano room. Chu Zhixing was playing the piano. Bai Yunj still didn't sleep well last night. Her eyes were slightly red, but she wasn't sleepy. Instead, she was thinking about what happened last night. Chapter 324. You can even be in a daze. Lu Yuanci looked at her with a complicated gaze. For the past week, he had been tortured by the sound of the piano and was about to have a heart attack. After Bai Yunj came back to her senses, she looked at Lu Yuanci and then at Chu Zhixing, who had finished playing. Master Pei, I played well, didn't I? Chu Zhixing didn't know why, but he was very confident in his piano skills. Bai Yunj nodded and said lazily, yes, as I listen, I seem to know how to write my will. Chu Zhixing, Lu Yuanci, who was beside him, burst out laughing. As expected of Master Pei. He was right to catch her. Fatty Chu had been obsessed with piano practice recently. He dragged him to listen to him play the piano and often felt good about himself. If a ruthless person didn't come, he would think that he was a genius. Nonsense, I have a sister who likes me to play the piano the most. Chu Zhixing frowned. If it were any other time, Bai Yunj might have teased him a little, but now she wasn't in the mood. After that, before Chu Zhixing could ask Bai Yunj persistently, Bai Yunj's phone rang. I'm going to take a call. Bai Yunj walked out and glanced at the caller ID. It was an unfamiliar number. After the call was connected, before Bai Yunj could say anything, she heard an anxious voice. Miss Pei. It's me. I'm Vice President Lin. Director Lin's scandal. I don't know who made the headlines. I'll suppress it for you, but the number of views is too big. It's difficult to suppress it. What? Pei Yunj furrowed her eyebrows as her eyes turned cold. Do you want to take a look for yourself? Vice President Lin took a deep breath and asked carefully. He really didn't have the guts to say anything about Director Lin. Even if he didn't know if it was true or not, many people on the internet had already spread it quickly. After all, because of the topic of Bai Yunj, even Director Lin's attention had increased a lot. Got it, thank you. The temperature in Bai Yunj's eyes gradually turned cold. When Vice President Lin heard this gratitude, he felt inexplicably flattered. Next. Bai Yunj had just hung up the phone when she saw Zhong Xinglin's message. Someone wanted her help and asked for her opinion. Not free. After Bai Yunj replied, she left the school and went to the nearest internet cafe. Computing Institute. I'm sorry. I rejected it. Zhong Xinglin smiled as he looked at the handsome and masculine man in front of him. He had already expected this. With Bai Yunj's temper, it would be impossible for her to agree. Ji Yiqing looked at him and said in a gentle tone, this case is very important to our entire district. Elder Zhong, I sincerely want to borrow it from you. Yiqing, your grandfather and I are old acquaintances. If I can help you, I will naturally help you. But she's not from my institute. Even if she was from my institute, she was groomed to be the successor of the director. Zhong Xinglin's smile didn't reach his eyes. If she doesn't agree to it, I won't force her. Ji Yiqing clenched his fists and pressed the tip of his tongue against his cheek. After a while, he asked again, is there only one person in the entire institute who can help me? Most of the people in the institute are academic. One or two people who know how to track and decipher are not as good as the people under you. Zhong Xinglin smiled again and said, as for giving her a computer, I don't know how well she can control it. Chapter 325. He knew about the Computing Institute because Zhong Xinglin had accidentally bragged about it when he was drinking with Old Master Ji 2 days ago. But he didn't expect that Zhong Xinglin treated her like a treasure and didn't want her to have any contact with the war zone. You have high expectations of her. Ji Yiqing smiled. But Grandpa Zhong, this is the first time I'm begging you. Can you help me ask her again? I've been investigating this case for 1.5 years, and 2 friends have already died. They have very powerful technical figures behind them, and they always get our information 1 step ahead of us. Hearing this, a hint of hesitation flashed across Zhong Xinglin's eyes, but he still didn't want Bai Yunj to get involved in this kind of thing. After all, it was too dangerous for Bai Yunj. And it was very easy for vicious criminals to target her. But now that Ji Yiqing had visited several times, he could tell that this matter was already serious. Yiqing, let's talk again when we're free. I still have a meeting to attend. After Zhong Xinglin finished speaking, he patted Ji Yiqing's shoulder and left. It was as if he was afraid that if he stayed any longer, he would really be unable to resist helping Ji Yiqing. Seeing Zhong Xinglin leave, Ji Yiqing's subordinate frowned. Elder Zhong is obviously not such a person. Why won't he even lend us a person? Elder Zhong can't afford to gamble either. Ji Yiqing's gaze darkened. He understood the importance of the Computing Institute. Let's go. After leaving the Computing Institute, who was beside Ji Yiqing, couldn't help but ask, are we giving up just like that? Since Elder Zhong isn't willing to pull the strings, then I can only come and disturb you. Ji Yiqing said lightly. Internet cafe. Bai Yunja's eyes darkened when she saw the old news about Director Lin online. These photos of Director Lin when she was young looked real. But the person who exposed the news said that Director Lin was a mistress who destroyed other people's families when she was young. As for these photos, they were also taken when she was caught in bed. At this moment, the comments were already at 2 extremes. One side felt that Director Lin was kind-hearted and wouldn't do such a thing. Otherwise, she wouldn't have done so many good deeds. On the other hand, the other side felt that Principal Lin was only doing this to clear her name. Even the matter of Bai Yunj was brought up again, mocking Director Lin for wanting to marry into a wealthy family. Bai Yunja's eyes darkened. Seeing that the news couldn't die down, he decided to help the technical department. So much so that the technical department, who had been frantically deleting posts after receiving the task, thought that they were seeing things. Why did these posts suddenly disappear? Vice President. The post that we wanted to delete disappeared on its own. The head of the technical department was still in a daze. Vice President Lin was silent for a moment. The person who would do such a thing immediately appeared in his mind. It's okay. It's good that it's gone. You guys can continue with your work. Vice President Lin also took a deep breath. His heart that had been hanging in the air finally relaxed. Fortunately, this ancestor didn't get angry. Bai Yunj flipped through the information she had copied on her phone and went to the Computing Institute. Meanwhile, Ji Yiqing, who had nothing to do and was sitting in the car, saw a familiar figure. Isn't that Master Du's daughter? Last night, he saw this little girl whispering to Master Du at the birthday party. Today, he actually saw her appear at the institute. Isn't this the real daughter? Huey's tone was a little mocking. The Qin family isn't enough for her to behave atrociously, so they all came here. Chapter 326. Hui. Ji Yiqing glanced at him warningly. No matter what Bai Yunj was, she was still Huashidu's woman. Hui was a little indignant. He looked at Qin Youjiao from the Qin family. She was clearly much better than this ignorant and incompetent real young lady. However, he did not expect the Qin family to be so ruthless. They chased her out directly and even announced it to everyone. She's indeed out of place here, Hui said softly. That has nothing to do with you. The moment Bai Yunj entered the computing institute, she called Director Lin. However, no one answered after ringing for a long time. She seemed to have thought of something and quickened her steps as a trace of coldness flashed past her eyes. However, Si Qingyan, who happened to see Bai Yunj, was frightened by her murderous gaze. Usually, Bai Yunj looked lazy, so much so that he almost forgot that when he first saw her, this person looked like she was not to be trifled with. But now, he did not know who had provoked Bai Yunj. Who are you looking at? Zhong Xinglin came over and asked in confusion. Your baby looks like she wants to kill someone's entire family today. Si Qingyan gloated. Zhong Xinglin's expression darkened and he slapped the back of Si Qingyan's head. Speak more elegantly. There are girls in our institute too. Si Qingyan was perplexed. Really? Did Bai Yunj even count? I'm not going to argue with you. I'll go find Gu. With that said, Zhong Xinglin turned around with a loving smile on his face. Si Qingyan was speechless. This old man was heartless. He did not even think about who had accompanied him for 2 years and never left him. In the research lab, Bai Yunj glanced at the information she had found and called Director Lin's son, Lin Jiannan. After the phone beeped twice, a very drunk man answered her call. Who is it? Bai Yunj sat in front of the long table, her fingers tapping on the table carelessly as she said slowly, Bai Yunj. Where is Grandma? Lin Jiannan smiled when he heard the voice. Yo, you've become a phoenix after flying up the branch. You still fancy that old thing Lin Longjun? Oh, I almost forgot. This old thing is very powerful. It's only right for you to curry favor with him. Upon hearing Lin Jiannan's words, Bai Yunj suppressed the coldness in her eyes and repeated, Where? You won't be able to see her. If you want to see her so badly, how about you give me 1,000,000 yuan? Bai Yunj controlled her temper and said casually, 10 million, and I'll take care of Grandma in the future. Of course, she knew what kind of scum Lin Jiannan was. But in any case, this was Principal Lin's son. She had to give him face. Yo, you've really become the daughter of a wealthy family. 10 million is so easy. What a pity, I think it's too little. Lin Jiannan's eyes were filled with greed. I want 50 million. Alright, I want him today. Bai Yunj didn't say much to Lin Jiannan. She just asked him to send her the address. The phone call had just ended. A few young men around them who had overheard the conversation between Bai Yunj and Lin Jiannan were itching for money. Brother Nan, how can 50 million be enough? The Qin family's assets are hundreds of millions. Lin Jiannan raised his chin at the crowd. Of course 50 million isn't enough. I'll ask for more after I've spent all my money. In any case, that old thing would definitely take care of him. Brother Nan, why don't we just do something big? A shrewd look flashed across the eyes of the person who spoke. How about we kidnap Bai Yunj together and let the Qin family take the ransom? I heard that Bai Yunj spent hundreds of millions on her birthday party. P.S. My precious child, remember the monthly ticket. Chapter 327. What if that wretched girl calls the police? Lin Jianan was still worried. Brother Nan, you're Director Lin's son. One of his followers went up to massage Lin Jianan's shoulders. He laughed and said, "Look, that wretched girl gave you 50 million for Director Lin. If you can get a few 100 million, we won't have to worry about the rest of our lives." That's right. The Qin family doesn't lack money anyway. The person next to him agreed. Lin Jianan was tempted when he heard this. In the end, he sent an address to Bai Yunj. At this moment, the person who had just suggested the plan secretly made a phone call. "Mrs. Ning, Lin Jianan has already planned to kidnap Bai Yunj. We'll proceed according to your plan." That's good. The woman sitting in the bungalow had a calculating and shrewd look in her eyes. Her nails were painted red as she stroked the Persian cat in her arms. How can a person like Lin Longjun enjoy her old age? Continue to instigate Lin Jianan to personally destroy Bai Yunj. Do you understand? By then, the Qin family will probably go crazy. Don't worry, Mrs. Ning. We'll definitely complete the task you've given us, the person said respectfully. Bai Yunj looked at the address Lin Jianan sent and laughed ambiguously. What's wrong? Are you in a bad mood? Zhong Xinglin knocked on the door and walked in gently. Bai Yunj didn't hide anything from Zhong Xinglin and roughly told him about Director Lin. Hearing this, even Zhong Xinglin's face darkened. This matter is most likely related to that person from the Ning family. Back then, she was always against Longjun. Longjun has a good temper and didn't take it to heart. Zhong Xinglin said coldly, "She's already so old, but she's still bringing up old scores." "Elder Zhong, I'm going to the abandoned chemical plant in the southern district," Bai Yunj said. "I'll get a few people to go with you." Although it was a private place, the higher-ups still sent people to protect them. This was also to prevent criminals from having designs on high-tech products. No need. A dark look flashed past Bai Yunj's eyes. If she brought people over, she wouldn't be able to see what Lin Jianan wanted to do. "Okay, be careful. Call me if you need anything." "All right." Bai Yunj smiled. At the door, Hui was surprised to see that Zhong Xinglin had personally escorted Bai Yunj out. "Elder Zhong sent her out. Brother Ji, even you don't get such treatment, right?" Hui was in disbelief. Ji Yiqing had been staring at Bai Yunj all along. He saw that her expression was indifferent, without any enthusiasm, but she seemed to have a good relationship with Zhong Xinglin. Could she be Elder Zhong's granddaughter? Hui made a bold guess. Maybe the Qin family had found the wrong person. Don't talk nonsense. As soon as Ji Yiqing finished speaking, he felt Bai Yunj's gaze on him. His entire body froze. At the same time, Zhong Xinglin asked, "What's wrong, Goober?" "Elder Zhong, someone's watching us." Bai Yunj smiled faintly, then said to Zhong Xinglin, "You can go back first." "Okay." A strange look appeared in Zhong Xinglin's eyes. He glanced at the ordinary car not far away and entered the place without saying a word. After that, Bai Yunj took a taxi and left. She didn't look at Ji Yiqing's side. "She scared me to death. I thought she discovered us." "Hui, drive. Follow her," Ji Yiqing instructed. "Huh? Aren't we blocking the way? Why should we follow her?" Hui was unwilling. Chapter 328. If you don't leave now, Elder Zhong will whip you with a broom. Ji Yiqing's unhurried words woke Hui up abruptly. He really saw Zhong Xinglin holding a broom and 7 or 8 security guards behind him with electric batons in their hands. They appeared very aggressive. Hui held back his expletives and drove quickly. Bei Yunj was playing with her phone and asked with a smile, "Uncle, can we shake off the car behind us?" "Then sit tight, my daughter. I'll give it a try." Hearing this, the driver put down the thermos cup happily, stepped on the gas pedal, and sped off. Hui, who was behind him, was caught off guard. He saw the taxi disappear after a turn like a sci-fi movie. F***CK. Huey's face turned pale. At this moment, the driver sped off, revealing a large coiling dragon tattoo on his arm. "My daughter, is that a stalker? Do you want me to call the police?" Bei Yunj looked at him with interest. "No need. The southern district is very chaotic, and the chemical plant has been abandoned. If something happens to you, Mom and Dad will be heartbroken. Don't be so reckless," the driver said with an accent. "Okay, thank you, Uncle." Bei Yunj nodded, but she did not hide the laziness in her eyes. After getting out of the car, the driver could not bear it and left her his phone number, asking her to look for him if anything happened. His daughter was quite good-looking. It would be a pity if something happened to her. After that, looking at the note, Bei Yunj smiled. Then, she put it in her pocket and walked to the chemical plant. As for Ji Yiqing, who was left behind, he had to use his connections to find out that Bei Yunj was heading in the direction of the chemical plant. What a disgrace. "I'm in an SUV, but I was left behind by that shabby-looking taxi." Hui gritted his teeth. Ji Yiqing ignored him and went into the chemical plant after getting out of the car. At the chemical plant, Bei Yunj saw the chains on the rusty iron gate. She smiled slightly and then pulled it down casually. Then, she walked into the chemical plant. However, when Bei Yunj stepped into the chemical plant, 7 or 8 young men appeared. Seeing this, Bei Yunj smiled even more brightly and lazily. The hand holding the chain directly locked the iron door. Lin Jianan and the others couldn't help but sneer at his actions. "You've got guts, coming here alone. Instead of running, you even locked the door. Aren't we afraid that you'll run away?" Bei Yunj's eyes curved into crescents. Her beautiful eyes were filled with undisguised arrogance. Hearing this, several people laughed out loud. "Brother Nan, your niece is so pretty. Don't try anything funny. We've already kidnapped them. Just get the ransom and don't provoke the Qin family." Lin Jianan was still afraid of the Qin family. "It's okay to take a few nude photos, right? Otherwise, why would the Qin clan be afraid?" Several young men stared fixedly at Bei Yunj with greedy eyes. "Where is Grandma?" Bei Yunj walked over and saw more than a dozen beer bottles on the ground, but there was no one else around. "If you go back with me obediently, you'll be able to see that old thing." Lin Jianan stared at her gloomily. "Otherwise, don't blame me for letting you down. Did you lie to me on purpose?" No one noticed that Bei Yunj's tone had lost its warmth. "So what? Come with me obediently to take a video and let your brothers come and save you." After Lin Jianan finished speaking, he ordered his men to catch Bei Yunj. However, who thought that Bei Yunj would grab the person's hand? She looked at him playfully and laughed. The next moment, the sound of a broken arm was heard. The atmosphere on the field suddenly became bone-chilling. Chapter 329. The painful howls of their companions made their scalps go numb. They had no time to hide their savage expressions. However, the girl in front of them was still smiling beautifully, but she did not hide the coldness in her voice. "You found a good place. There are no cameras." Bei Yunj grabbed the young man's hair and walked slowly toward them. This scene caused a layer of goosebumps to rise all over everyone's body. Didn't Lin Jianan say that Bai Yunj was timid and would be bullied every day? She was like a living Azura. Which bear's heart and leopard's guts would dare to bully her every day? However, after Lin Jianan came back to his senses, anger rose in his heart. This good-for-nothing actually dared to hit him. Bai Yunj, you're capable, aren't you? Now, I'll teach you a lesson. Lin Jianan picked up the metal pipe in his hand and walked toward Bai Yunj with a ferocious expression. At this moment, Ji Yiqing, who had rushed over, happened to see this scene. However, before he could do anything, the two of them saw Bai Yunj grab the metal pipe that was swinging towards her and kick that person's abdomen ruthlessly with her knee. Even they, who were outside, could hear the dull sound of the collision clearly. This scene was too horrifying. Brother Ji, Ai Hui could not recover from the shock. Ji Yiqing did not speak. Bai Yunj had already stepped on Lin Jianan's head. The playfulness and coldness in her eyes sent chills down the spines of the others. Uncle Jianan, are you going to tell me? Bai Yunj smiled gently, but her eyes were arrogant and unruly. The surrounding people almost wanted to climb out of the door and run away. Lin Jianan was Bai Yunj's uncle after all. If they were in her shoes, their skulls would have been cracked by her. You're treating me like this. If my mother finds out, before Lin Jianan could finish speaking, Bai Yunj kicked him in the back. He rolled back 1 to 2 meters. The scene was too horrifying. You still want to complain? Bai Yunj took out a small knife from his pocket and smiled. So I shouldn't keep you here. Seeing the vicious look in Bai Yunj's eyes, the people around her became mute. Their legs trembled, and none of them dared to step forward. Usually, they would scam people casually in the poor streets. When had they ever seen such a scene? Lin Jianan couldn't help but scream when he felt the cold blade graze his face. Let me go. Let me go and I'll tell you where that damned old hag is. After saying this, the knife in Bai Yunj's hand had already slashed across his eyeball, pierced through his sleeve, and pinned it to the ground. The shadow that almost cut off his eyeballs made Lin Jianan scream. The few people around them could not bear this terrifying scene any longer. They ran straight for the iron gate. How could money be more important than his life? The one from the Qin clan was clearly an evil spirit. Uncle, I'm sorry. I tore your clothes. Bai Yunj apologized slowly, making Lin Jianan unable to withstand the pressure in his heart and burst into tears. Yunj. They tricked me into doing this. Don't be angry, where's Grandma? She's in Mrs. Ning's hands. Mrs. Ning asked me to secretly kidnap my mother. She was the one who threatened me. Yunj, believe me. Lin Jianan cried bitterly. But suddenly, with a sound, the lock of the iron gate in the distance was opened. Chapter 330. Bai Yunj looked at him from the corner of her eyes and realized that he looked familiar. She seemed to have seen him last night. Hello, Miss Bai. Ji Yiqing's lips curled up. His young and handsome face became gentler. He didn't look like someone from a war zone. Instead, he looked more like a scholar. Before Ah Hui could mock him, Bai Yunj said slowly, You must have spent a lot of time looking for me, right? How did you know? Ah Hui's eyes widened. He didn't expect Bai Yunj to discover them. In the past, even when they were investigating, very few people would discover them. However, the moment he finished speaking, Ji Yiqing, who was beside him, glanced at him coldly. Ah Hui immediately shut his mouth. Sir, save me. This woman is crazy. Lin Jianan became bolder when he saw Ji Yiqing. He looked at Bai Yunj with hatred. This woman hit my brother and now she wants to hit me. Look at the knife in her hand. Ah, Hui looked at Ji Yiqing and said, Brother Ji, Bei Yunj is deliberately hurting you. Before he could finish speaking, Ji Yiqing took a step back and smiled leisurely. Miss Pei, let's talk after you've settled your matter. Lin Jianan was stunned when he heard this. Ah, Hui turned to look at Ji Yiqing in disbelief. Brother Ji, this is against the rules. I'll accept my punishment when we get back. Ji Yiqing was nonchalant and didn't care at all. His main goal now was to find out who it was. It wasn't worth offending Bei Yunj for a hooligan. As long as no one died, she could do whatever she wanted. Ai Hui opened his mouth, but nothing came out in the end. Mr. Ji, you're quite smart. Pei Yunj smirked before her eyes landed lazily on Lin Jianan. Lin Jianan sank into fear. Before he could beg for mercy, a blood-curdling scream resounded throughout the chemical plant. It made one's scalp go numb. Even Ai Hui was scared witless when he saw such a young lady being so ruthless. This is the last question. It's a race question. Only the first person to answer will be allowed to leave standing. Without waiting for the others to think, Bei Yunj asked unhurriedly, who was the one who posted the photos and stuff online. Bei Yunj's smile did not reach her eyes. 3, 2, Hong Han. It's Hong Han. I saw him secretly calling Mrs. Ning. One of the smallest of them said without thinking. Bei Yunj glanced at the man, indicating that he could leave. When the others saw this scene, they were envious. Miss Pei, I still have something to say. My account was the one they used to spread the news about me. I can go and clarify it. After the first person rushed to answer, there were immediately others who were unwilling to be left behind. Miss Pei, the phone that Madame Ning used to contact Hong Han was the backup phone. You can check their phone numbers and find their records. Also, they transferred the money to Lin Jianan's wife. Seeing that everyone had spilled the beans, even Ai Hui could not react in time. Sure enough, hooligans are afraid of bullies, Ai Hui muttered. Lin Jianan and Hong Han can stay. The rest of you can get lost. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, the others fled like a swarm of bees. Miss Pei, I was instructed to do this. Madame Ning asked me to instigate Lin Jianan to kidnap Director Lin. She was also the one who wanted to ruin you. Chapter 331. Hong Han's emotions were unstable. Seeing how Bei Yunj had beaten Lin Jianan up just now, he had a feeling that he would be the next person. Didn't someone mention this just now? Bei Yunj walked over and stepped on his hand, grinding it slowly. Her upturned eyes were filled with coldness. Even Huey's hand hurt when he saw this scene. This Miss Pei was really an evil spirit. Bei Yunj. Miss Pei, I can bring you to Mrs. Ning. Hearing this, the corners of Bei Yunj's lips curled up and she finally stopped using force. Sure. Don't think about running away, unless you don't want these legs anymore. These words made Hong Han heave a sigh of relief. No, that won't happen. It's my honor to work for Miss Pei. Hong Han carefully tried to please her. Mrs. Ning's methods were only superficial. Compared to this person who didn't even talk to you when fighting, she was simply too inferior. He would rather offend that old person than this young one. Soon. Seeing that Bei Yunj had let everyone go and he was the only one left, Lin Jianan was even more afraid. Yunj, without another word, Bei Yunj kicked his shoulder and Lin Jianan rolled back. 50 million isn't even enough for you to spend, Uncle Jianan. Bei Yunj's beautiful eyes became even brighter, but the coldness in her tone was terrifying. It's enough. It's enough, Yunj. Lin Jianan was filled with regret. This 50 million was enough for him to live a carefree life. When Grandma comes back, I hope you'll disappear on your own accord. Do you understand? Bei Yunj took out a 50 yuan note and stuffed it into his chest pocket. She patted it lightly and her bright eyes curved. Otherwise, I'll chop off one of your fingers every time you and your wife come. How about that? Lin Jianan was scared out of his wits. I understand. Do you have enough money? Bei Yunj asked with concern. Yes. It's enough. Lin Jianan limped away with 50 yuan, which wasn't even enough for the taxi fare. After dealing with them, Bei Yunj finally remembered Ji Yiqing. Mr. Ji, why are you looking for me? Miss Pei, do you know him? After Ji Yiqing finished speaking, Ah Hui, who was beside him, blurted out, impossible. Who are they? How could Bei Yunj know her? Bei Yunj was not angry. Instead, he glanced at Ai Hui and smiled. He's right. It's my fault for not teaching him well. Hearing Ji Yiqing's words, Ai Hui knew that he would be punished when he returned. If Mr. Ji really has something to say, you can ask Elder Zhong. There's nothing in this world that can't be done. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she prepared to leave. Ai Hui could not help but say, that's easy for you to say. Ai Hui, go back and receive your punishment. You don't need to follow me for the rest of the month. Ji Yiqing glanced at him coldly and then caught up with Bei Yunj. Does Miss Pei know about high-tech murder? I don't know. I've seen a futuristic sci-fi movie before. There was a computer expert who could eavesdrop on other people's conversations through the fluctuations in a glass of water in a room. What do you think, Miss Pei? Actually, imagination itself is an existence that has yet to come. Bei Yunj said slowly. Then, Miss Pei, do you think you can do it? Ji Yiqing stared at her. Bei Yunj stopped in her tracks and looked at him with a half-smile. I won't participate in any disputes. Chapter 332. Ai Hui pursed his lips, glanced at Ji Yiqing, and shut his mouth quietly. He glanced at Bei Yunj with disdain. What a joke. She was just a high school student who knew nothing, yet she wanted to meddle in other people's affairs. In the past year and a half, I've taken on a case related to a criminal gang both at home and abroad. Their main source of income is human trafficking and some illegal supplies. Ji Yiqing told Bei Yunj everything without hesitation. Bei Yunj didn't say anything. He didn't know if she was listening, but Ji Yiqing continued to speak. Every time we sent a new spy, he would be found within 3 months. His corpse would be chopped up, packed in a box, and thrown in the square. Ji Yiqing's tone was indifferent, but he clenched his fists. The first spy was my best friend. After he was discovered, his wife and son were also taken away. From the video that they deliberately sent, I saw that he was tied up in an abandoned field and watched helplessly as his wife was humiliated and his son was thrown into a pulverizer. Bei Yunj glanced at him and wiped her hands. After a long time, she said, so, you guys are very capable. She wasn't someone who would take it as her duty to save others. Some people's feelings for their country could be used to conquer mountains and seas. As for her, she was deeply involved in a mountain of daggers and a sea of flames. In her previous life. When Bei Yunj was young, her antisocial personality attracted the attention of the older generation. Therefore, they told Mother Pei to teach Bei Yunj well. Otherwise, not only would their family not produce a genius, but they might also produce a time bomb. After all, Bei Yunj's talent was very shocking since she was young. The Pei and Meng families couldn't commit such a sin. Hearing Bei Yunj's praise, Ji Yiqing laughed happily. Let me send Miss Pei back. It's hard to get a taxi here. Ji Yiqing added, Miss Pei, you don't have to guard against me. I understand some things. Who didn't want to live a stable life and was willing to get involved in such a dangerous matter? Thank you. A trace of emotion flashed past Bei Yunji's eyes. She just smiled and gave Ji Yiqing an address. However, when Ji Yiqing heard this address, he subconsciously glanced at Bei Yunji. Isn't this where that person lives? Huashidu came back very early today, but he did not expect to see Bei Yunji. Mr. Hua, the young lady is at the door. A friend sent her here. When Auntie Miao saw Bei Yunji and Ji Yiqing at the door, she walked in silently and said casually. The man's eyes darkened. He thought that it was one of Bei Yunji's friends from school. But when he walked over to take a look, he didn't expect to see an old acquaintance. At the door, Ji Yiqing's gaze had been fixed on Bei Yunji. He lowered his head and spoke to the girl, his eyes filled with tenderness. As for the beautiful girl, she was as lively and unruly as ever. For some reason, it made people feel that it was somewhat of an eyesore. Huashidu stood not far away. His gaze landed on them without avoiding them as he watched this scene lazily. This was the first time he saw the young master of the Ji family smile so gently at a girl. Master Du, long time no see. Ji Yiqing wanted to greet Huashidu, but in the next moment, he heard the man ask casually. Didn't we just meet last night? Ji Yiqing, why did he feel that the atmosphere was strange? Where did Yunyun go? Why did you ask your elders to send you back? Huashidu turned around and looked at Bei Yunji. Ji Yiqing smiled again and said, what kind of elder brother is he? Chapter 333. With that said, Bei Yunji thought of the etiquette that Huashidu attached great importance to and turned to look at Ji Yiqing. Brother Yiqing, thank you for sending me back today. You're welcome. This Brother Yiqing made Ji Yiqing's body stiffen before he smiled. On the other hand, the man who had been looking at Ji Yiqing had his usual lazy and cold gaze turned deep. Then I'll go upstairs first. I'll treat you to a meal when I'm free. With that said, Bei Yunji went in. However, Huashidu remembered that she had said the same thing when he met this child for the second time. Speaking of which, it was probably Ji Yiqing's second time meeting this child. Master Du, does Yunji usually stay at your house? Ji Yiqing was still looking at the living room, his tone casual. Huashidu's fingertips flicked the silver lighter casually. His handsome and dignified eyes looked lazy and casual. Why? She doesn't stay in the Qin family. Ji Yiqing seemed to be overly concerned about Bei Yunji as he muttered to himself, this little girl isn't like the rumors at all. Instead, she always makes people unable to take their eyes off her. Young Master Ji is very interested in Yunyun. Huashidu looked up, his tone emotionless. Hearing this, Ji Yiqing was about to nod when he felt Huashidu's cold gaze. Ji Yiqing was speechless. What was going on? Within moments, Ji Yiqing laughed involuntarily. Master Du, what are you worried about? Ji Yiqing, you're not young anymore, Huashidu said slowly. Ji Yiqing understood what Huashidu meant. He forgot to clarify and said seriously. Let's see, I'm only 5 or 6 years older than Yunji. Is the age difference big? So, you like Yunyun? Huashidu's eyes gradually darkened. Master Du, don't look like you want to kill me. Ji Yiqing pressed between his eyebrows. Yunji will get married sooner or later. Master Du, why are you so jealous? Hearing this, Huashidu's fingers stopped moving. What did you say? I said, sooner or later, Yunji. Before Ji Yiqing could finish speaking, he suddenly realized something. Master Du, could it be that he liked this girl? Are you? A thought flashed through Ji Yiqing's mind when he saw the man frowning slightly. A playful look flashed past his eyes. Master Du, I'm actually not that bad, am I? I'm good-looking and good-tempered, and I've never had a girlfriend. I don't have any bad habits. Moreover, if the Qin family and the Ji family can unite through marriage, the Qin family won't lose out. Ji Yiqing. Shidu looked at him. An unknown emotion spread out, and there was an indescribable danger in his eyes. For the first time in more than 20 years, Shidu, who had always been calm and at ease, disliked someone so much. This was also the first time he had the desire to fight. When Ji Yiqing saw this, he was also stunned for a moment before he smiled and said, Master Do you want to see how scary you look now? He walked closer to Shidu and his smile deepened. This is the first time I've seen you like this, Master Do. It's quite rare. Shidu restrained the dangerous look in his eyes. He also felt that his reaction was too unreasonable. Not long after, Shidu roughly understood why. Because of the little girl who had just entered. And all his unreasonable emotions at this moment came from his possessiveness. The little girl that Master Do likes doesn't look ordinary either. But if Master Do doesn't chase after her, I want to try too. Chapter 334. I won't send you off. Take care, young Master Ji. The man's gaze was indifferent, but there was an inexplicable aggressiveness in his eyes that exuded a sense of oppression. Ji Yiqing ignored the man's expression and continued to ask with a smile, so fast. Can't we chat more? As soon as he finished speaking. Before Shidu could speak, he heard a voice upstairs. Ji Yiqing. Shidu frowned without batting an eyelid. Seeing this, the smile on Ji Yiqing's lips deepened. Master Do, look, I can't leave yet. These words sounded different in the man's ears. It was as if Ji Yiqing was deliberately provoking him. At this moment, Bei Yunj walked down and said directly, Can you leave your contact details? Okay, I'll be waiting for your orders, Miss Pei. Ji Yiqing smiled gently, but his gaze was discreetly sizing up the neglected man beside him. Bei Yunj's eyes moved. You can look for me if you need anything. With that, she turned and went upstairs. Seeing Bei Yunj leave, Ji Yiqing laughed again. Before he could speak, he heard Shidu say coldly, Ji Yiqing, don't cause trouble for yourself. Master Do, Miss Pei is an adult and doesn't have a boyfriend. Ji Yiqing felt that Shidu could drag him out and beat him up at any time. So what? Shidu sneered. I don't mind waiting for Miss Pei for another 2 years, Ji Yiqing insisted fearlessly. But as soon as he finished speaking, the atmosphere suddenly became silent. After a long while, just when Ji Yiqing thought that Shidu would ignore him, he saw him light a cigarette and his tone was calm and fearless. Who dares to touch my child in Yunqing? Bei Yunj found Mrs. Ning's information. However, when she saw the photo of Mrs. Ning's son, she was surprised to find that this was the person who had caused a ruckus at her birthday party because of Qin Youjiao. Bei Yunj's lips curled up slightly, but the temperature in her eyes turned colder. So that was the case. Bei Yunj restrained the light in her eyes and slowly searched for information about this young Master Ning. When it was time for dinner, Bei Yunj went downstairs. Miss Pei, the gentleman who sent you here today is also very handsome. Auntie Miao smiled happily. He's a friend. Brother knows him too. Bei Yunj glanced at Shidu and remembered that she had not spoken to Shidu much today. For a while, Bei Yunj couldn't find a topic to talk about. Suddenly, Bei Yunj asked casually, Brother, how did you know Ji Yiqing? Upon hearing that Bei Yunj's first sentence today was to ask about Ji Yiqing, Shidu's gaze deepened. A family friend. On the surface, he still spoke casually. Bei Yunj forced herself to continue the conversation. He's not bad. Is that so? Shidu raised his eyebrows and his gaze landed on Bei Yunj. He asked casually, "Does Union like this?" "He's all right. He's quite tactful." Bei Yunj changed the topic and changed the description. Gentle. However, she did not notice that the eyes of the man sitting beside her had darkened. Huashidu stared straight at Bei Yunj in front of him. He thought of how this young lady had gone overboard last night and her attitude towards Ji Yiqing today. He subconsciously licked the tip of his itchy teeth and chuckled softly. I couldn't tell that Union likes so many types. At this moment, Bei Yunj could sense the danger in the man's tone. Chapter 335. Brother, what's wrong with you today? Bei Yunj felt that something was wrong with Huashidu. It's nothing. I'm thinking about something. Huashidu's gaze swept past Bei Yunj. The young lady's liking was indeed like a gust of wind. It disappeared after it blew. She had secretly kissed him last night, but today, she felt that Ji Yiqing was gentle. I see. Bei Yunj nodded in understanding. Coincidentally, someone had sent her a message. She glanced at it. It was Du Xiao asking her to consider the International Musicians Association. Bei Yunj replied without thinking. Sure. At this moment, Du Xiao, who was still waiting in the hotel in the city center, had his eyes light up. This trip to Yunqing was indeed not in vain. The next morning, the International Musicians Association posted a public announcement online. To celebrate, the International Musicians Association welcomed the first musician from country A. The International Musicians Association would decide to open up 2 more spots to country A. The moment this news was released, the entire internet went viral. Hashtag the first member of the International Musicians Association in country A hashtag made the headlines. What immortal? Am I dreaming? The first member of the International Musicians Association from country A. Don't you think that the name of the first member from country A looks a little familiar? Yun. F***CK, isn't this Yumanran's composer? A big shot who suddenly appeared. So, how did Yumanran get the big shot to compose for her? How can a pop singer's composer be considered a serious musician? The person above is really ignorant. Do you know how many famous overseas musicians have taken Yun's score? Soon, because Yun made the headlines, Yumanran's song also received dividends and continued to dominate the music app. After that, everyone also realized that because of the sudden recruitment of the International Musicians Association, many people went to listen to Yun's song. In the end, all of them became fans. They even took first place on the foreign music charts. It received great praise. And this sudden good luck was thrown directly at Yumanran. Naturally, a large number of singers were jealous. They all wanted to use their connections to dig out some information about Yun. But after digging around, they realized that other than writing songs for Yumanran, this Yun did not have any other connections. In the piano room, Qin Youjiao was halfway through her piano practice when someone called her. Her hand paused as she realized who the caller might be. She stood up quietly and answered the call. She stood by the window and asked, "Why are you calling me at this time? If you don't call now, I'm afraid Miss Qin will forget who got you the invitation to the Nearly 18 debutante ball." Qin Youjiao clenched her fists and said with a smile, "How can that be? Youjiao, I know very well in my heart why I want to help you, don't I?" That person also laughed. "I know that you're targeting the Qin family. But my mother is also Mrs. Qin." Qin Youjiao clenched her fists as a struggle appeared in her eyes. Everyone in the Qin family treated her badly, but Mrs. Qin treated her as her biological daughter. If she really helped this person, how disappointed would Mrs. Qin be in her? Are you sure that blood relations are really not important? The more upper class a family is, the more they value the purity of their bloodline. That person smiled. For example, in our family, the son of a mistress is only an illegitimate son no matter how capable he is. It's impossible for him to inherit the family business. Yo Jiao, I have plenty of ways to make you the one and only eldest young miss of the Qin family. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly recommendation ticket. Chapter 336. These words made Qin Yojiao's heart skip a beat. Could he really make Bei Yunj leave the Qin family? Your 3 brothers will only dote on you like before. Yojiao, don't you want that? Qin Yojiao bit her lip as hatred flashed past her eyes. She wanted to. If it wasn't for Bei Yunj, she wouldn't have been chased out like a stray dog. Yojiao, and we can become very good friends. That person guided her patiently. How about this? I'll give you a membership spot in the International Musicians Association as my first gift to you. How about that? Qin Yojiao froze. She already knew that this person had a noble status and was not someone the Qin family could compare to. However, she never thought that this person would be able to get her a spot in both the Nearly 18 Debutante Ball and the International Musicians Association. Can I really do that? Qin Yojiao asked tentatively. That person laughed, his voice as pleasant as a silver bell as he asked casually, why not? Hengda. Bei Yunj glanced at the message Du Xiao had sent. Yunj, how about you be the chief examiner for Country A's recruitment this time? Bei Yunj's eyebrows twitched and she rejected him directly. I'm not free. Soon, Du Xiao immediately persuaded her. Yunj, you've just arrived. I have to give you some authority. This recruitment review isn't troublesome. Other than you, there are 2 other members who will assist you. They won't make you too tired. If you come and help, we don't have to pay the membership fees in the future, okay? When he sent the last sentence, Du Xiao felt that Yu Manran was cheating him. It was just a membership fee of 10 to 20,000 yuan. Why would Bei Yunj care? But very quickly, Du Xiao saw that person's reply. Sure. Du Xiao was speechless. As a big boss, didn't she need at least some face? Class 1-inch, what's going on today? Qin Yojiao seems to have been in the piano room and hasn't come out much. I heard it's for the International Musicians Association, someone said. Hearing this, many people in the class were confused. International Musicians Association. What's that? Soon, someone explained, only a handful of well-known musicians can enter the International Musicians Association. What's the use of being a musician? Isn't he just playing piano for others? Hearing this, the girl next to him said disdainfully. However, soon, some people rolled their eyes. He sneered. Ignorant. The most important benefit of the International Musicians Association is to gather connections. As a member of the International Musicians Association, do you know how many big shots from various countries you can get to know? Moreover, for these big shots, the International Musicians Association is also an important network of connections. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. Hearing this explanation, everyone suddenly understood why so many people in the country were so excited when the first member of Country A appeared. Moreover, because of that member's participation this time, the International Musicians Association had also given 2 additional slots. It was as if Country A was being loved on account of the same thing. Then wouldn't the composer of Yu Manran be overjoyed? Someone asked enviously. The International Musicians Association started to say last month that they wanted to recruit a new member, but it was only today that they officially announced that it was Yun. The internet speculates that the International Musicians Association may have dug for more than a month before they managed to find her. With that said, Everyone seemed to understand why the International Musicians Association was so happy that they were so happy to give 2 additional slots to Country A. It turned out that they had gone through a lot of trouble to poach her. Then Qin Yojiao is too lucky. If she gets this opportunity, won't she be the youngest member of the International Musicians Association? Chapter 337. You think too highly of Qin Yojiao. Is it so easy to enter the International Musicians Association? Someone could not help laughing. All the works of the International Musicians Association are left in the textbooks. What works can she have? Didn't Yun get in too? The boy in the class who liked Qin Yojiao could not help retorting. How can she compare to Yun? Before the 2 of them could start arguing, someone beside them said softly, "My friend in our nation said that their Ministry of Education is indeed buying Yun's copyright. It was just that they had not agreed to sell it yet." Hearing this, everyone could not help but fall silent. Our nation was buying the copyright of their country's song. This was really a series of events in their lifetime. No wonder the International Musicians Association was so anxious to poach her. I really want to know who Yun is. It's like she appeared out of thin air. Do you remember that in the past, Yu Manran was at most a B-list celebrity? Once he collaborated with Yun, he immediately became a popular A-list celebrity. There's a reason for this. Some people started their piano tour at the age of 18 and didn't cause much trouble. These words happened to be heard by Qin Yojiao, who had just walked in. The gloominess in her eyes disappeared. She clenched her fists tightly, her nails digging into her flesh. It was that Yun again. Suddenly, Qin Yojiao remembered what Yu Manran had told her last time. That person was about her age. If Yu Manran wasn't lying to her, wouldn't she become a joke when Yun appeared in front of everyone one day? At this thought, Qin Yojiao's face paled and her body trembled slightly. No. She would never allow this to happen. Qin Yojiao pushed open the door and walked to her seat with a cold expression. The girl who had mocked Qin Yojiao behind her back was so frightened that her face paled and she didn't dare to say anything. The entire classroom was silent and awkward. Qin Yojiao sat in her seat and sent a message to that person. "Help me get Yun's new score and I'll do anything for you, okay?" When she typed this message, Qin Yojiao's hands were trembling. She didn't want to do such a thing, but she didn't want to become a laughingstock either. It's not difficult, but why do you want her score? Qin Yojiao gritted her teeth and sent another message. I want to destroy her. Only in this way could she continue to be a proud girl in everyone's eyes, a young pianist. Okay, then remember what you promised me. Seeing this message, Qin Yojiao heaved a sigh of relief, but unconsciously, a thin layer of sweat covered her forehead. Qin Corporation. President Qin, this bouquet of black roses is here again, Secretary Qian said cautiously. As expected. When Qin Luyan heard that, a cold glint flashed across his eyes. The low pressure around him made it hard for him to breathe. However, this flower delivery woman was like a lunatic. She would send a bouquet of black roses every day. Regardless of whether she rejected it or not, there would always be a bouquet of black roses at the front desk the next day. Throw it away. Qin Luyan suppressed the hostility in his eyes. His eyes were still arrogant and handsome. This woman was still as disgusting as she had been in her previous life. President Qin, do we really not need to investigate? Is there a need to investigate a lunatic? Qin Luyan's tone was cold, but the veins on the back of his hand were popping out. In his previous life, it was because of this woman that the Qin family was ruined. This time, no matter what, he would make her pay the price. During this period of time, the Qin Corporation had expanded crazily and was already very eye-catching. Even the woman far away in our country had noticed it. P.S. Today, Chapters 9 to 12. Remember to vote every month. Chapter 338. How could she not tell that Qin Luyan was already on guard against her? However, as long as Qin Youjiao could be used by her, she would always have a trump card. In the Ning family. Do you mean that the Qin family's daughter who went back really came to look for you? Mrs. Ning snorted. I really didn't expect Lin Longjun to raise such a filial child. That's right. Yesterday afternoon, my brothers and I wanted to kidnap Bei Yunj, but we didn't expect. That person's expression was ugly. Thinking of what happened yesterday, he was traumatized. She didn't even leave Lin Jianan any face and stepped on him. Just thinking about that scene made his scalp turn numb. Hearing this, Madame Ning's action of picking up the Persian cat stopped. Then she walked towards the sofa and sneered. How ruthless. However, Lin Longjun is still in my hands now, so she can't cause any trouble. Madam, she should come to look for you in the next 2 days. Mrs. Ning's tone was sarcastic and contemptuous. She's not coming to look for me. She's coming to beg me. She was waiting for Lin Longjun's granddaughter to come to her door and beg her. Then, she would let Lin Longjun see with her own eyes how she tortured Bei Yunj. At noon, Bei Yunj received the information from Si Qingyan. You want me to do such a thing for you? What a sin. Take a look. Is it complete? Bei Yunj smirked. After receiving the information, she quickly replied to Si Qingyan. Thank you. I'll help you look at the project on Friday. Then, Bei Yunj flipped through the information about the Ning family. The playfulness on her lips deepened, but the smile did not reach her eyes. After a while, she edited a copy of the information and sent it to Yu Manran. Then, she sent a message slowly. Do you have time to help me? This piece of information needs some exposure. In less than a minute. Man, arrange it. Muah. Until the afternoon. The news about the Ning family had completely entered everyone's field of vision. Regardless of whether it was the fact that the Ning family had close contact with the retired senior officials in order to gain a foothold in the country, or the fact that the only young master of the Ning family had taken drugs outside 2 years ago and was left unsettled in the end, it had caused a huge sensation. The Ning family is really a big melon. My friend is young Master Ning's classmate. In the past, in order to pursue a girl, he pushed her boyfriend down from the 2nd floor and broke his leg. In the end, nothing happened. It's really not strange that he would do such a thing. *CK, the Ning family is relying on their wealth to raise their son like the crown prince. Why didn't he think about it? Would it be his son's turn to be the crown prince of Yun City? Let me tell you something. A few days ago, something happened to Director Lin. Looking at the time, it happened to be when the Ning family went public. A worker died in an accident. The news was suppressed just like that. Smile, what kind of juicy news is that? I'd like to ask, has anyone here eaten melons from Madame Ning and Dean Lin? Back then, Ning Tai liked Director Lin's husband and used all kinds of methods, but in the end, he just didn't like her, so that's how it is. No wonder Academy head Lin has been criticized recently. My father used to be a student of the Lin Academy. He said that the photo of the adulterer in bed is indeed true, but the matter is very complicated. Back then, Academy head Lin's husband liked Madame Ning and looked down on Academy head Lin's family background, so he refused to let Academy head Lin marry into the family. In the end, Academy head Lin's husband came and stole the household register. He took Academy head Lin to get the marriage certificate and even hid it from everyone. Madame Ning claimed to be his fiancée and caught her fiancé stealing the forbidden fruit. In the end, he drove the car. Damn, the hidden marriages of that era are really exciting, doghead. Chapter 339. My mom told me about this yesterday. Dr. Lin's husband seems to have been pursuing Dr. Lin since high school. It wasn't easy for Dr. Lin to agree. How could she listen to her family's arrangement? Moreover, Dr. Lin was young, beautiful, and talented back then. She was very popular. If you don't put in some effort to get a marriage certificate first, she will be abducted, dog head. Yes, I remember that in her second year of teaching, Dr. Lin won an international prize in biology. Her in-laws were so shocked that they didn't dare to continue to show their displeasure. Or is Dr. Lin too low-key that people look down on her? Ha 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 ha, is this reflected in reality? Boo-hoo, I knew it. Dr. Lin is so good. It's impossible for her to do such a thing. Soon. Some of the positive comments about Dr. Lin were liked by several old professors of Yunqing University, which was equivalent to confirming that this matter was true. Suddenly, those who had said negative things about Dr. Lin seemed to have disappeared without a trace. At this moment, Mrs. Ning, who had been called by countless people to express their sympathy, only knew that such a thing had actually happened on the internet. She fell into a state of anxiety, and her expression was ugly. How could this be? Mrs. Ning gritted her teeth and stared at the reports on the internet, as well as the clarification about Dr. Lin. Suddenly, she felt as if there was a mouthful of blood stuck in her throat. How could such a thing happen? Lin Longjun should be the one who was despised by everyone. How could it be her? Just as Mrs. Ning felt cold all over and fell to the ground with a hollow gaze, a pair of black leather shoes suddenly appeared in front of her. Looking up, she saw slender white legs, a simple cut paper school skirt, and an unbelievably beautiful face. At this moment, the eyes looked at her with a faint smile. She squatted leisurely and looked at her playfully. Mrs. Ning, it's the first time we met. My name is Bai Yunj. Mrs. Ning lost her composure and took a step back. It's you. You must have done it. Gradually, Mrs. Ning's expression became fierce. The corners of Bai Yunj's lips curled up as she threw another USB flash drive to her. Post the statement inside online today. What is this? To clarify, Dr. Lin. Bai Yunj curled her lips and said in a casual tone, full of arrogance. Don't even think about it. Mrs. Ning's eyes widened and she wanted to throw the USB flash drive out again. But in the next moment, Bai Yunj threw a stack of photos in front of her. She smiled condescendingly. Madam Ning, think about it carefully. Are you going to send it, or am I? At this moment, Mrs. Ning lowered her head and saw her son intertwined with a man or a woman in the photo. The scene almost made Madam Ning faint. This is fake. You lied to me. Madam Ning's eyes were bloodshot. Whether it's fake or not, won't we know once we let everyone take a look? Bai Yunj smirked, and her clear voice was full of coldness. Last time, young Master Ning came to my birthday party to make trouble. This time, we can settle old and new debts together. No. No way. Madam Ning became agitated. She immediately pulled on Bai Yunj's sleeve and shook her head frantically. Don't send it out. I am willing to clarify. Miss Pai, please spare me. Okay. Lin Jianan and Bai Yunj, who were waiting at the door, saw how Madam Ning lost her composure and knelt in front of Bai Yunj. This was the real devil, Dr. Lin was weak. She didn't expect to see Bai Yunj in the basement. Chapter 340. Why are you here? Director Lin's pupils constricted, thinking that Mrs. Ning had kidnapped her. Leave quickly, don't worry about me. Bai Yunj saw that Director Lin was drenched and the basement was cold. She knew that Mrs. Ning had done this on purpose. A trace of coldness flashed past her eyes and she covered Director Lin with the thin blanket she had brought and helped her up. Her voice was gentle. "Grandma, I'll take you home." As soon as the Ning family's matter was exposed, someone started to investigate. Apart from the things that had been exposed recently, the Ning family had also participated in many shocking and absurd transactions. As a result, the Ning Corporation had completely collapsed. During this period of time, Qin Youjiao was also focused on practicing the piano. She wanted to enter the International Musicians Association in one go and let the Qin family discover her value again. "Youjiao, I brought you something to drink." Qing Zihuai took the milk tea and placed it beside Qin Youjiao's table. "Thank you." After Qin Youjiao took it, she only took a sip and left it untouched. She said with a smile, "You're first in this monthly exam again. I heard from my teacher that you might be the top scholar in the city next year." Qing Zihuai smiled. "Compared to being the top scholar in the city next year, I hope that I can win the Domestic Computing Award this year." "I believe in you, Zihuai. In the future, you'll go to the computing department of Yun University and I'll go to the music department of Yun University." At this point, Qin Youjiao deliberately smiled at Qing Zihuai. "I wonder what university Yunj will want to study in. Can she get into university with how she looks?" Qing Zihuai's tone was mocking. "I also heard that Yunj signed up for this physics competition and participated with us. Maybe, she's studying hard." Hearing Qin Youjiao say this, the ridicule in Qing Zihuai's eyes deepened. "Youjiao, people who work hard are not like this. People like Bei Yunj just want to be noticed. But in the end, she only made a fool of herself. She's different from us. She can only roll in the mud." Hearing Qing Zihuai say this, Qin Youjiao's hand on the piano relaxed. She was also afraid that the Qing family would favor Bei Yunj more because of what happened at the birthday party last time. Fortunately, since Qing Zihuai hated Bei Yunj so much, Bei Yunj had no right to fight with her. But that's good too. When the results of this competition are out, it's time to let your brothers see who's the real Qin family member. A dark look flashed across Qin Youjiao's eyes when she heard Qing Zihuai's words. She smiled and said, "Zihuai, let me show you my original song from the International Musicians Association." "Sure." Early morning. Bei Yunj saw the news from Tich and Jasmine. The two of them had won the gold and silver medals of the Shinga International Computing Competition, so he was in a good mood. Although the Shinga International Computer Competition was not as prestigious as the Busaka Award in the computer industry, it was still quite valuable. The fact that Jasmine and Tich could win such an award at such a young age showed their potential. When she went downstairs, Bei Yunj suddenly thought of something and opened a group chat for the first time. This group chat was actually a chat software created by Marcus. It was filled with members of the Computing Institute and our nation's Computing Institute. Soon, everyone in the group chat received a large wave of red packets. "Red packet, congratulations. Red packet, congratulations. Red packet, congratulations." Everyone was speechless. Chapter 341. He was out. What was going on? Without hesitation, those who were fast had already gone to receive the red packets. Because Marcus did not set the amount when he made the software back then, everyone was so scared that their legs almost turned to jelly when they saw that the red packets they received were all in the thousands. He had sent more than 10 red packets, and each red packet was worth hundreds of thousands. Wasn't he 2F** King generous? So, in the hearts of the two members of the Big Boss Computing Institute, they could not help but add a suffix. God of Fortune. Soon, Marcus came out. "Marcus, God of Fortune, what's wrong with you?" "It's nothing. I'm just happy that a student won an award." Marcus, who saw the message, was speechless. Just now, Teach and Jasmine had been crying and complaining to him that their teacher was too strict. After receiving the award, their teacher had only replied with a "yes, I understand," in a cold and elegant manner, as if it was something very normal. In the end, she was a fanatic behind his back. Unfortunately, as interns, Teach and Jasmine could not enter the group chat yet. Marcus resisted the urge to take a screenshot and send it to Teach and the rest. From the corner of his eye, he realized that there were too many red packets and they had not been collected. So in the next moment, his fingers slipped and he snatched the red packets together. He completely forgot about Teach and Jasmine, who were still immersed in grief. Bei Yunj went downstairs and was about to go out before she had breakfast. Yun, have breakfast first. Huashidu had a feeling that this little girl had been a little busy recently. Even at home, she was nowhere to be seen. Brother, I have something on. The moment Bei Yunj finished speaking, another voice suddenly sounded from the door. Yunj, are you ready to leave? Bei Yunj turned around and saw that it was Ji Yiqing. Why was he here? Bei Yunj furrowed her eyebrows. Elder Zhong asked me to pick you up, Ji Yiqing said with a smile. Hearing this, Bei Yunj understood. Uncle Zhang, who often picked her up recently, had something on, so he asked Elder Zhong to arrange for someone to pick her up. However, she did not expect Elder Zhong to ask Ji Yiqing to come over. I have to eat breakfast first. Bei Yunj looked at Huashidu and thought for a while before speaking again. That's just nice. I haven't eaten with Master Du for a long time. At this moment, Ji Yiqing looked like someone who couldn't read other people's expressions. Although Bei Yunj knew that Huashidu and Ji Yiqing were old acquaintances, she could feel that Huashidu didn't seem to want to see Ji Yiqing that much. But since she was here, there was no reason for Ji Yiqing to wait outside. Brother, do you think? Bei Yunj looked at Huashidu. Suddenly, Huashidu laughed and reached out to pinch the back of her neck affectionately. His tone was light as he said, Yun, go and eat first. Brother Yiqing is old and his waist is not very good. I'll get Aunt Miao to prepare some food for him to nourish his body. Ji Yiqing, he had injured his waist during a mission. What nonsense was Huashidu spouting? However, the next moment, Bei Yunj looked at him with more respect and pity. Then I'd better take a taxi. It's not good for my waist to drive for too long. Ji Yiqing's handsome face darkened. It's okay. I'll arrange a chauffeur for you later. The man's lazy and magnetic laughter sounded. Ji Yiqing put on a fake smile. The injury from the previous mission has already healed. Master Du, you don't have to worry so much. Is that so? I saw that the Ji family arranged a blind date for you. I thought that you were old and your waist couldn't recover, so I was preparing earlier. Chapter 342. Huashidu's words made Ji Yiqing's reputation even worse. It was as if Ji Yiqing was trying to save face and refused to admit it. Bei Yunj's expression was clear and she did not say much. Ji Yiqing put on a fake smile. In the past 2 years, the Huo family seems to have been busy with the selection of a young madam. Huashidu's posture was light and lazy. He slowly poured a glass of milk for Bei Yunj and looked at Ji Yiqing with a faint smile. Yes, young Master Ji, think about it. Why is that? For a moment. Ji Yiqing still did not understand what Huashidu meant. After that, until Bei Yunj finished breakfast and was about to leave with Ji Yiqing. Brother, did I leave my rubber band in your room? The rubber band that Bei Yunj had been using these few days was new, but it had disappeared within 2 days. However, when Ji Yiqing heard this, he looked at Huashidu in surprise. He did not expect the two of them to be so close. Okay, come and get it yourself. Huashidu was holding a document in his hand. Actually, he could have gotten the rubber band for Bei Yunj, but Bei Yunj did not think too much about it. She walked over and reached into the man's suit pants pocket. However, after searching for a while, Bei Yunj changed to another one, but she could not find the rubber band. At this moment, the handsome and noble man stood there leisurely, allowing the girl to lower her head and touch his waist intimately. He was very indulgent. It looked ambiguous and intimate. However, Ji Yiqing saw the man's gaze fixed on him with a faint smile. Ji Yiqing was speechless. He wanted to scold him. What should he do? Yunyun, why are you touching him? Young Master Ji is still here. The man's magnetic voice deliberately dragged out the last syllable. It was light and ostentatious, making people blush and their hearts race. Ji Yiqing resisted the urge to scold him. Bei Yunja's eyes also moved slightly, not knowing what to say. Then, before Bei Yunj could walk away, the man suddenly chuckled softly. His magnetic voice was slightly filled with a bewitching ambiguity. I'll get it for you. He took out a black rubber band from his suit pocket and slowly tied the girl's hair in front of Ji Yiqing. After you're done, Yunyun, come back early. I have something important to tell you. After getting out of the car, Ji Yiqing also completely understood why Huashidu wanted him to think about the reason why the Hua family no longer looked for young madam. Because now, Huashidu's family was raising one. What happened? Bei Yunj glanced at her wristwatch and confirmed that there was still time. Because the requirements for interns in Country R's Computing Institute were very strict, the system was different from the Computing Institute. The interns in the Computing Institute could vote and choose the instructor to give public lectures. Bei Yunj, on the other hand, became the most ideal mentor for the interns because of the huge patent fees and Marcus's high regard for her. Today, Bei Yunj was preparing to give these interns a public lecture. That was why she came over so early. It's fine. Ji Yiqing took a deep breath and experienced the difficulty of matchmaking. He looked at Bei Yunj. Do you come to the Computing Institute often? When Bei Yunj heard this, her hand, which was about to take out her identity card, paused and she silently retracted it. Occasionally. Bei Yunj put the identity card back into her pocket and stopped at the entrance to register before entering with Ji Yiqing. The security guard was puzzled. Why didn't Miss Pei use her pass today? Chapter 343. After entering the Computing Institute, Zhong Xinglin warmly pulled Ji Yiqing down and had a long talk with him. He used his eyes to signal Bei Yunj to leave quickly. Before Ji Yiqing could say anything, he turned around and realized that Bei Yunj was nowhere to be seen. Inspector, where is Miss Pei? She might have gone to water the flowers for me. Children nowadays are very patient. They like to help the elderly. Zhong Xinglin laughed heartily. Ji Yiqing's eyelids twitched and he did not ask further. She specially came to the Computing Institute just to water the flowers. At this moment, Bei Yunj was indeed watering the flower buds of various countries. However, the flower buds that were being watered began to tremble. Everyone was happy and excited when they found out that the class was going to start today. They walked into the conference hall in high spirits. However, someone casually asked Tich what a typical teacher needed to prepare for class. Tich replied that he would be scolded. Everyone suddenly realized that this matter was not simple. If you think that the content is too simple, you can leave the conference hall. I don't want people to whisper to each other. Bei Yunja's clear voice did not have any warmth. Everyone had mixed feelings. The interns, who were considered outstanding newcomers, suddenly understood why Tich and Jasmine were so arrogant and frivolous when they first entered the Computing Institute. But now, they only knew how to hold a thermos and often stood by the window with a face full of vicissitudes. Right now, looking at the entire scene, it seemed that only Titch and Jasmine could keep up with Bei Yunj's rhythm. As for the others, they had already started to kneel. As for the discussion just now, some people were secretly asking Titch what the teacher was talking about. The class ended in a thrilling manner. Jasmine and Titch gulped down a few mouthfuls of hot tea and a piece of American ginseng to refresh themselves. They relaxed completely. Seeing this skillful unified action, everyone was shocked. They were indeed the first and second in the institute. They were too persevering. If they attended a few more classes, they would be able to ascend to the heavens. Therefore, from this class onwards, the interns in the institute developed a shadow over Bei Yunj. Titch, are you guys always like this in class? Titch's numb and empty eyes gradually woke up. He said amiably, that's not it. Today's content is indeed simpler than before. Maybe it's because I don't want to make it difficult for you. The interns. Wasn't that difficult? Suddenly, everyone felt sorry for Titch and Jasmine. What kind of life were they living at the Calculation Institute? Some people could go out with their mentors to ride bicycles and drink to relax. Some people had to suck on a piece of American ginseng after class, as if they were hanging on by a thread. Why don't you all change teachers? He was very good. He was young and outstanding. But if he continued to follow, he would lose his life, right? It's okay, I can do it. I can prove to my teacher that I can. Titch waved his hand and focused on fighting Bei Yunj. Everyone, sure, this was a case of one willing to hit and two willing to suffer. After class, Bei Yunj's good mood in the morning was completely gone. It just so happened that Marcus called. Good, how was class? Are you happy? Bei Yunj, Marcus continued to ramble on and on, following you to class is indeed very effective. Titch and Jasmine have really improved too much. Look, they even won the Shinga International Prize. Just a minute ago, Bei Yunj had even checked the Shinga International Prize. After confirming that it wasn't some random prize, he was relieved. P.S. There are at least 5 or 6 more chapters. Sleep early. Good night. Chapter 344. After all, she had specially sent a red packet to the group in the morning. Next time, don't look for me for this kind of public class. What's wrong? You're the number 1 chosen by the institute. You're a popular top instructor. Bei Yunj said casually, Titch and Jasmine are enough. Okay, as you wish. Of course, Marcus would listen to Bei Yunj. Not long after hanging up the phone, Bei Yunj received a text message from Du Xiao. The registrar sent you a copy, but you don't have to worry about it. Just check the last 2 rounds. After all, more than 1,000 people had signed up this time. After the first round, only 200 people would be left. In the next few rounds, they would slowly filter them out. After Bei Yunj replied to Du Xiao, she saw Ji Yiqing in front of her. Hasn't that mission been going on for more than a year? Since it hasn't been settled yet, why are you still so free? Bei Yunj asked unhurriedly. The third comrade just went undercover into the gang's center yesterday. Ji Yiqing smiled and stared at her. I don't know why, but I feel safe with you. Bei Yunj said casually, call me if you need anything. It's the same. So, Miss Pei, you know him. Ji Yiqing looked at her with a smile. His intuition told him that Bei Yunj was related to him. But no one would think that an ignorant and incompetent high school student and the one who had a patent fee of 10 billion yuan could be the same person. Whether I know him or not, there won't be any change in your perception. Bei Yunj changed the topic and asked as if she had nothing to do, do you know how the first and second comrade were discovered? Ji Yiqing shook his head helplessly. The first comrade just entered the inner circle and died on the third day. The other comrade also died about half a month ago. Bei Yunj stopped in her tracks and turned to look at him. The third comrade also entered the inner circle. Yes, he just entered last night. Ji Yiqing nodded. Bei Yunj quickly thought of something. She looked up and said, "Ask him to come back immediately." Ji Yiqing was slightly stunned. Why? Did you implant the spy with a monitoring chip? Bei Yunj's question surprised Ji Yiqing. Yes. If he doesn't come back soon, you can prepare the fourth spy. Bei Yunj looked at him with a faint smile, but there was no warmth in his eyes. But our chips can't possibly be discovered. Ji Yiqing frowned. After all, no one had discovered it for so many years. If there isn't a mole in the R&D department, then it must be the chip. Bei Yunj smiled lazily. There are already two. Whether there will be a third one or not is up to you to decide. Ji Yiqing had also said that the gang seemed to have technicians supporting them from behind. Every time they reached a critical moment, they would know what they were doing in advance. In that case, it was also very likely that the spy had been spied. Let him come back now. Ji Yiqing's eyes darkened as he clenched his fists. The two people in front, have you performed an autopsy? Bei Yunj asked. Yes, the chip is also intact. Ji Yiqing nodded. Bei Yunj's eyes darkened. Let's perform an autopsy on the second one. Those people wouldn't be at ease to let a person jump around in their nest for half a month after knowing that he was a spy. However, whether Ji Yiqing could find any traces of them depended on luck. In the evening, Bei Yunj also left the computing institute. Chapter 345. Ji Yiqing's eyes darkened. He thought for a while and finally made a call. Brother Ji, what's wrong? Hui was monitoring the internal situation of the gang with his colleagues through the monitoring chip. Ask Bao to come back. Now. Hui was stunned. Why? Bao just went in. Ask him to come back quickly. Don't make me repeat the order a second time. Ji Yiqing's gaze was cold. Brother Ji, because of this case, you've been reprimanded by the higher-ups many times. We've already lost 2 brothers. If you ask Bao to come back now, won't you be a coward? Won't you be making a joke out of us? Hui was unhappy, but he quickly thought of Bei Yunj. He could not help but say angrily, did Bei Yunj say that? Brother Ji, who is that woman? Why do you have to listen? Ji Yiqing's tone was cold. Give the order again and ask the spy to come back. Those who disobey will be kicked out of this mission. Instantly. Hui fell silent. The female colleague who heard it immediately gave the spy an order. After settling this matter, Ji Yiqing called the forensic doctor again and said in a gentle tone, Hello, I'm Ji Yiqing. Can I trouble you to do the autopsy again? Bei Yunj sat in the car and used her iPad to draw a human body. Finally, her gaze landed on the head and teeth. She moved the tip of her pen slightly and drew a circle on the head as she muttered to herself. Is it here? After getting out of the car, Bei Yunj saw that there was no one in the living room and thought that she had come early, so she went upstairs to take a shower. However, she did not expect that just as she took off her clothes and was taking a shower in the bathroom, the man would push open the door and sit by the French window. The man with noble eyes was focused on the document in his hand. After a while, he noticed a faint movement. Someone was there. Shidu frowned. The first person he thought of was Bei Yunj. Did this child forget that the bedroom had just been changed back yesterday? Just as Shidu stood up and was about to walk over to take a look, he stopped in his tracks. He felt that it was better to leave the bedroom. But in the end, just as Hwashidu turned around and was about to leave, a girl who was drenched all over and only had a white towel draped over her body as she dried her wet hair appeared. The towel was only casually draped over her body, partially covering the important parts of her body, but it made one's blood boil. In particular, the girl's figure was extremely good. Even her ankles made people feel sexy. For a moment, the two of them looked at each other. Bae Yunja's hand paused. She didn't scream, but her mind exploded. Hwashidu was the first to react. He restrained the darkness in his eyes and quickly turned around. 1 or 2 seconds later, there was an almost imperceptible hoarseness and helplessness in the man's voice. "Why aren't you going back to get dressed?" He didn't expect that this young lady would dare to come out with only a towel. Bae Yunj calmly picked up the clothes and walked back. However, as soon as she returned to the bathroom, she realized that she had forgotten to take something very important. Bae Yunj, she glanced at the translucent top. Underneath it was a close-fitting spaghetti strap. She didn't think she could go next door like this. "Brother." Bae Yunj gently pushed open the bathroom door and called out tentatively. Hwashidu, who was about to close the bedroom door, paused. "What's wrong?" "I forgot to take my clothes." Veins popped out on the back of Hwashidu's hand that was holding the door handle. His Adam's apple bobbed as he suppressed those thoughts that he shouldn't have. "What do you need?" Chapter 346. Underwear. Bae Yunja's voice also stiffened. When Hwashidu noticed it, he also found it funny. "You want all of them?" "Bra." After Bae Yunj finished speaking, she silently closed the bathroom door. But then she realized that as long as she went out to get a clean towel, changed her clothes, and covered herself, it might not be as awkward as it was now. Bae Yunj, forget it, she had already said it. So, just as Bae Yunj was feeling relieved, she suddenly thought of the terrible scene of this man opening her closet and choosing a bra for her. She had really sinned. Bae Yunj suddenly felt a sense of guilt, as if she had touched the flower of a high mountain. But on second thought, she had also secretly kissed him. This sin seemed to have been committed a long time ago. Soon. Just as Bae Yunj was letting her imagination run wild, there was a knock on the door. Yun. Bae Yunj opened the door from the inside and saw the man's slender hand reaching in with a black bra. This sharp color difference was dazzling. It was also inexplicably lustful. When Bae Yunj took it, she turned to look and saw the man's handsome side profile. He was dressed in a neatly tailored suit, looking refined and cold. However, it formed a strong contrast with this lustful and ambiguous atmosphere. He was like a god who had been pulled down from his altar. Bae Yunj narrowed her eyes. After taking the important item, she felt that it was hot to the touch. Especially when the man picked up the shoulder strap just now. "I'll go out first." "Okay." Bae Yunj immediately changed her clothes. At this moment, Hwashidu, who had already closed the bedroom door, was no longer as lazy as usual. Just now, Hwashidu stood at the door and called Auntie Meow. He had wanted Auntie Meow to come and get it for Bae Yunj. After all, this was a little girl's personal clothing. As a man, he should not touch it. However, he did not expect that Auntie Meow had just been called over by the old madam to discuss cooking. In the end, he could only go and get it himself. After more than 10 minutes, Hwashidu did not see Bae Yunj come downstairs. Then, he received a message from her. "Brother, if there's anything important, let's talk tomorrow." Hwashidu could not help but chuckle softly. His voice was filled with joy and was magnetic and pleasant to the ears. After that, he knocked on Bae Yunja's door and stood at the door with a casual smile. Brother has something to do, so he has to go back to the company. Yun, hurry up and go downstairs to eat. Bei Yunj, are the communication tools invented by humans no longer useful? Did he have to come upstairs? 10 minutes later. Bei Yunj saw the voice message from Auntie Meow. She clicked on it without hesitation and heard Auntie Meow's hearty laughter. Miss, I'm so sorry. I forgot to take your measurements and make clothes for you. I didn't even know that your clothes are too small. Mr. Hua just called and asked me to bring someone to take your measurements. How about tomorrow afternoon? You're too small. His eyesight was really good. He could tell at a glance that it was small. Bei Yunja's beautiful eyes couldn't help but twitch, but her entire body froze. Was it too late to go out and strangle that dog of a man? The next day. Back at Hingda. Master Pei, what's wrong? Why do you look like a little girl who has been bullied? Lu Yuanci snatched her phone away and opened the maps of the gods. He said with fighting spirit, come, let's experience the most realistic life and death friendship. Not interested. Bei Yunj did not snatch the phone away. Instead, she sat down and leaned on the table, preparing to sleep. She did not sleep yesterday. It was either because of nightmares or because she could not sleep. Chapter 347. What's wrong? You've been acting weird these few days. Lu Yuanci suddenly became kind and started to care about his deskmate. It's nothing. I just realized that it's not bad to get first place. Bei Yunj held her head and twirled her pen with her slender fingers in boredom. When Lu Yuanci heard this, he looked at Bei Yunj with even more pity. Wasn't this too exciting? She was actually dreaming. Actually, it's not bad to be at the bottom. Their scores are real, and so is our friendship. Bei Yunj was speechless. Then. The boy behind couldn't help but laugh. Master Pei, don't think about getting first place. Think about what you're going to do for the physics competition this afternoon. This afternoon. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. Yes. Oh right, you asked for leave the other day. The boy nodded. Lu Yuanci smiled. Does our Master Pei care about when the exam is? Everyone is actively tutoring for the physics competition. This one skipped all classes in order to finish school on time. Bei Yunj glanced at Lu Yuanci coldly and turned to continue sleeping without saying a word. Lu Yuanci was speechless. She really didn't even expect to cram at the last minute. Master Pei, it said that the physics competition started because of Leia. If you score in the single digits, you might make the headlines. Lu Yuanci's eyelids twitched. He didn't forget about the monthly exam results that made the headlines. The public was too harsh on Bei Yunj. Just because she was the daughter of Director Lin, it was as if she should always get first place. Okay. Bei Yunj responded casually. It was unknown whether she was full of confidence or just in the mood to play. Leia, you'll definitely get first place in the physics competition this time. After all, you even got second place in the Raphael competition. No one can say for sure. Just do your best. Leia's bad mood improved a little in the face of so much attention. Some time ago, Maps of the Gods had terminated the contract with the Lei Corporation and even announced the cooperation with the Qin Corporation. This matter, which was expected by the public, even made the headlines once. As for the Lei Corporation, it had become the shame of Maps of the Gods. Sister Yojiao, aren't you also participating in the competition? I look forward to it. Leia turned around and smiled coyly at Qin Yu. At this moment, Qin Yojiao's hand that was flipping the book froze. She knew how strong Leia was in physics. Even Cheng Zihuai might not be able to compare to Leia. She smiled. You're an expert in this area. I can't compare to you. Seeing Qin Yojiao and Leia being humble to each other, the people around them could not help sighing. The relationship between the great gods is so harmonious. That's right. Anyway, isn't first place between the two of them and Cheng Ziwei? Damn, now that you've heard about it, this year's physics competition is too scary. All of them are gods. Suddenly, someone laughed sarcastically. Isn't that so? Anyway, Hingda has already reserved the first and last places. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone understood who he was referring to. Wasn't that the fearless immortal from Class 7? He didn't know where she got the courage to sign up. Did she think that the Qin family would buy her a ticket for this physics competition? At this moment, when the two people who were arguing in front heard the discussion behind them, their moods immediately improved. Yes, no matter what, they could watch Bai Yunj make a fool of herself. Sister Yojiao, do you still want to return to the Qin family? Leia suddenly asked. Chapter 348. Qin Yojiao put up the physics books and said to her with a smile, I heard that you went to see my grandfather a few days ago. When I'm free, I'll bring you back to the old mansion to stay for a few days. Leia did not expect Qin Yojiao to say this. It was as if she had just gone out casually and would return to the Qin family after a while. Can you still go back? Leia looked cold, but she was actually a little nervous. Compared to Qin Yojiao, she actually hoped that Bai Yunj was the Qin family's eldest young Miss Moore. After all, Bai Yunj did not pose any competitive pressure to her. However, Qin Yojiao was different. Even without the Qin family, she could still receive an invitation to the nearly 18 debutante ball. Some people can't hold on to that position, Qin Yojiao said. At noon, Ji Yiqing could not help but call Bai Yunj. After the call was connected, he quickly expressed his gratitude. Miss Pei, thank you so much this time. When the forensic doctor examined the deceased's head, he found a minimally invasive injury. He pursed his lips. Later, I found out that the piece of human skin had been transplanted. There was a chip inside that had already been scrapped. At that time, they hoped that the deceased could leave with dignity, so they did not conduct an in-depth examination. However, they did not expect to miss a major discovery because of this. Is the third person back? He's already back, but if he leaves for too long, he will definitely be discovered. Ji Yiqing furrowed his eyebrows. Why don't we send the chip to the Computing Institute first? As for the third spy, the chip suggests that we remove him first. Ji Yiqing was also very hesitant. Actually, this chip was also a guarantee for the spy. If they found anything unusual, they could order them to be recalled at any time. I understand. Ji Yiqing clenched his fists and could not help asking, will you take a look at the chip? Elder Zhong will. With that said, Bai Yunj hung up. At this moment, Hui was stunned. He did not expect that the spy had really been spied. This chip was almost certainly used by the criminals to monitor them. These people are too sinister. Hui could not help gritting his teeth. However, he also wanted to know why the spy did not know that he had been implanted with a chip. Had he been instigated? That was impossible. If that was the case, why did the two spies die after being exposed? Hui, be more respectful to Miss Bai Yunj in the future. Ji Yiqing couldn't help but say coldly when he recalled Hui's attitude towards Bai Yunj. This time, it might just be a coincidence. Hui could not help but retort. Coincidence? Why is it that out of so many people in this investigation operation, none of them are coincidental? I'm warning you, don't kill a few more people because of your loose tongue. Ji Yiqing was completely enraged. and the veins on his fair arms were faintly bulging. After all, the ones who left this time were Ji Yiqing's two friends. Ai Hui was also shocked and didn't dare to say anything more. In the afternoon, the people who signed up for the physics competition got on the school bus and prepared to leave for the competition venue. Along the way, someone couldn't help but laugh softly. Bei Yunj actually dared to come. She's too awesome. She's being praised by Class 7. She's really whimsical and thinks that she's a peerless genius. Someone snickered. Now that she's on the bureau, I wonder if she can break the record and get the lowest score in history. The discussion on the bus continued all the way, and even the leading teacher's expression did not look too good. However, who knew that when they got off the bus, someone not far away exclaimed, "Master Pei, what's wrong with you?" Chapter 349. When everyone heard this, they turned around and saw a very young and handsome man. He walked over from the teacher's group with a smile on his face. The teacher in charge of Hingdo was stunned for a moment and quickly stuttered, "Professor. Professor C." He was a professor of the computer science department at Yunqing University and also the youngest professor in the entire university. When he first started working 2 years ago, he had even gone viral on the internet once. Because he was good-looking and had become a professor at such a young age, he was simply the perfect male lead. Si Qingyan did not hear the voice beside him clearly. He only glanced at the school bus and then at Bei Yunj. He couldn't help but laugh. "You died prematurely, is this a place you should come to?" Si Qingyan suppressed his smile and deliberately chased her away. "Hurry up and go back." Seeing that Si Qingyan seemed to be very familiar with Bei Yunj and could even joke casually, the smiles of the people who were mocking Bei Yunj stiffened. This was a computer science professor at Yunqing University. How did Bei Yunj know him? Could it be that he was also Director Lin? But this professor was so young. He didn't look like he was from the same generation as Director Lin. "I'm here to participate in the competition." Bei Yunj's beautiful eyebrows moved as she pointed at the sign not far away. National High School Physics Competition. "Did you see it clearly?" Si Qingyan couldn't help but laugh. "Master Pei, are you human? You won't even let this competition go?" Bei Yunj was speechless. It wasn't that she didn't want to let it go. In her previous life, Bei Yunj had skipped grades too quickly, so the competitions she participated in later were all world-class. It was indeed her first time participating in such a national high school competition. Hearing these two chatting as if there was no one else around, the others felt that they were in a fantasy. This seems to be the very popular computer science professor at Yunqing University. What does he mean by that? Someone couldn't help but discuss. The girl beside her was envious. "Did you hear what Professor C shouted just now? Master Pei. F***ck, I didn't think much of it when I heard the people from Class 7 call her that. But when Professor C calls her that, it sounds inexplicably doting. Yeah, why do the two of them look so familiar with each other?" At this moment, someone said weakly, "Don't you think there's a problem with Professor C's words just now when he asked Bei Yunj not to participate in the competition?" Somehow, he felt that there was a deeper meaning behind those words. What problem could there be? Professor C must know Bei Yunj's capabilities and asked her not to come over. However, no one thought about it in any other way. They were just envious that Bei Yunj had a hospital director as her grandmother. She actually knew so many big shots in the academic world. However, seeing this, Qing Zihuai's expression changed. He did not expect Bei Yunj and Si Qingyan to have such a good relationship. After all, when he was at the Computing Institute, he had tried all sorts of ways to gain Si Qingyan's favor. However, Si Qingyan had always been reserved in front of him as a genius professor. Although Qing Zihuai could accept this, what was going on with Bei Yunj? Why was even Si Qingyan shouting such a ridiculous title? Just like those ridiculous hooligans from Class 7, they praised Bei Yunj to the skies. Leia could not help but ask, Zihuai, is Bei Yunj very close to this professor? Although Leia, who had just transferred, was also targeting Yunqing University, she did not know which professor there was. Qing Zihuai's handsome face was ugly. He did not answer this question and only said gloomily, let's go. No matter what their relationship is, Bei Yunj can only be at the bottom. Chapter 350. After entering the venue, Si Qingyan muttered from the side, you didn't participate in the competition the old master signed you up for and insisted on participating in such a competition. In the future, when she attended an event in the Computing Institute, she was introduced as the winner of the K.Z. Busaka competition. She was great. First place in the National High School Physics competition. Wasn't it embarrassing? Bei Yunj's eyebrows moved. I didn't sign up for this. Hearing this, Si Qingyan immediately understood. Another student who had been tricked. However, Hingda probably didn't even know that they had accidentally poached a god. Alright, then, do well. Anyway, you're all prepared. At this moment, Si Qingyan remembered his duty as an invigilator. Suddenly, Bei Yunj paused and was silent for a while. Brother Yen, I don't think I brought a pen. Si Qingyan was speechless. A few minutes later, Si Qingyan borrowed a pen from upstairs and gave it to Bei Yunj with a pained expression. There was actually someone who forgot to bring a pen for the competition. Thank you. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched. Bei Yunj had also finished lunch and had yet to return to class when she was pushed onto the school bus by Lu Yuanci and the rest. After the exam, the candidates who came to participate in the competition left the examination hall one after another. On the way, people were discussing. It's really AF** King B paper. This is too difficult. Why is it so difficult? Someone was about to suffocate. Because the second place in the previous Raphael competition transferred to Hingda to participate in the physics competition, the paper was changed at the last minute. 1 2 3 4 5 The person beside continued to explain, however, I said during the exam that the last few big questions were set according to the standards of the Raphael competition. There are also basic questions in front. Amazing. I'm participating in an ordinary physics competition and I can actually meet a big boss who participated in the Raphael competition. The person who heard the explanation had a look of despair. Hingda is indeed the top high school in Yunqing. They even recruited such a big boss. I estimate that they can enter 3 of the top 5 this year. Qing Zihuai from year 3 and Qin Youjiao from the Qin family are both participating. Besides, they're all the best in physics. No way. Hearing the discussions from the other schools, the students of Hingda all raised their chins and walked out of the examination hall with pride. Even so, they didn't do well in the exams. Before long, in the school bus, the teacher in charge gently handed Leia a bottle of mineral water and said with a smile, "How was the competition this time?" Seeing this treatment, the others couldn't help but be envious. However, unexpectedly, after Leia took it, she pursed her lips and did not look too good. I didn't finish the last 2 major questions. Hearing this, the others also sucked in a breath of cold air. It was normal that they couldn't understand it. Leia couldn't do it either. The person who came up with this question was too ruthless. The teacher in charge froze. He did not expect that even Leia could not solve the last question. She couldn't help but panic. Even the second place in Raphael's competition was in Hingda. If the winner of the competition was not a student from Hengda, wouldn't Hengda become a joke? Then, what about you, Zihui? The teacher looked at Qing Zihui hopefully. The last question is a little gambling. Qing Zihui frowned. However, when the teacher in charge heard Qing Zihuai's words, he heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 351. Everyone looked at him enviously. They did not expect Qing Zihui to be so capable. Even Leia could not help but take a few more glances at Qing Zihui and smiled. Zihui, you're amazing. With that said, Qin Youjiao, who was behind him, remained silent and her expression did not look too good. Originally, she was one of the top students in the cohort, but she only did 3 small questions in the back. Even if she got all of them right, she could only get more than 10 marks. At this moment, a Year 3 girl could not help laughing. Teacher, what are you afraid of? Anyway, we're last in the competition. No one can snatch it from our school. With that said, everyone instinctively looked at a certain person in the front row. Although they did not say it, they agreed with her in their hearts. Why was a bad student here to join in the fun? Wasn't she embarrassing Hengde as well? Hearing this, the teacher in charge did not say anything, but her eyes swept over Bai Yunj, who was playing with her phone, unkindly. Bai Yunj had just turned on her phone when she saw Si Qingyan in the group chat. An official member of the Computing Institute, Si Qingyan, ha 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 ha, I'm laughing so hard. Guess who I met when I was invigilating the exam? Zhong Xinglin. Dean. The others also sent a series of question marks. Si Qingyan, from now on, is no longer an ordinary person. She is the winner of the 32nd National High School Physics Competition. As soon as this news was released, it attracted a lot of questions from the members. What was going on? She even participated in such a competition. Did she not plan to be a human anymore? Dean. Take care. Researchers should cherish their own feathers. Bai Yunja's eyelids twitched and she turned off her phone. It must be fate. However, Si Qingyan was still talking non-stop. Si Qingyan, I'll never forget that after Master Pei finished writing the paper in more than 10 minutes, before she could sleep on the table, she heard the boy next door wonder why this question was so difficult. That kind of disdain and complicated gaze, Si Qingyan, an old show from my school saw Master Pei sleeping. Sigh, why is another one useless? Si Qingyan, in the entire examination hall, only, is sleeping seriously. I can't take it anymore. Ha 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 ha, when they returned to school, school was almost over. Lu Yuanzi asked casually, how did it go? Yeah, it's just a so-so. Bai Yunj was calm and collected. Lu Yuanzi, that's it. Could it really be single digits? If he had known earlier, he would have encouraged Chubby Chu to take the exam instead of Bai Yunj. That night, after the exam, the question setter held a thermos flask and appeared in high spirits at the exam area. How is it? My standards are good, right? Let alone second place, even if Raphael was first place, he wouldn't be able to get full marks. The bald male teacher was in high spirits and had a rosy smile on his face. In the past few years, the standard of the exam papers was getting worse and worse. As a matter of fact, he still had to ask him to come out if there were any slightly better students. However, no one had expected that Hengda would recruit a student who had won a prize in Raphael's competition. The young teacher next to him poured tea for him and couldn't help but compliment, Teacher Huang, you're still the most respected person in the hearts of the students. We have to learn from you in the future. Just as the two of them were chatting happily, the teacher, who had worked hard to mark the papers, felt strange when he saw a paper with sloppy handwriting. Then, the more he corrected it, the tighter his heart became. Chapter 352. He suppressed it for a long time before he managed to stop himself from blurting out vulgarities. Even his mind was in a mess. "What's going on, oldie?" The young teacher turned his head and asked the teacher who was marking the papers. This oldie was usually the calmest. Why was he so flustered today, as if he had encountered a ghost? Damn, the teacher was still immersed in his own world and could not extricate himself. "What's wrong?" "The student score is too low." Teacher Huang walked over and patted the young teacher's arm. He smiled and said, "It's very normal. I've been setting papers for so many years and no student has ever gotten full marks. After all, he was the number one in the physics circle." No, the teacher said in a daze, "This student seems to have full marks," as soon as he finished speaking. The young teacher and teacher Huang, who were chatting happily just now, froze. Immediately, they went to look for the paper. How is this possible? The standard of the students in Raphael's competition is so high. Teacher Huang picked up the scrawled paper and looked carefully at each question. He felt as if he had been struck by lightning. "Teacher Huang, this can't be, right?" The young teacher looked at Teacher Huang's expression and had a bad premonition. However, even he might not be able to get full marks on this paper. How could a student get full marks? Is it the second place in Raphael's competition? Teacher Huang gradually found his voice and asked with a trembling voice. "I don't think so. The second-place student in Raphael's competition is not from this examination hall. This student, I don't know where he came from." At this moment, in an office building of a certain university, someone had gathered all his energy and wanted to finish marking all the papers as soon as possible to see who this student was. To be able to get full marks on Teacher Huang's competition paper, this was a talent that the university was fighting for. 12:34, the next day. It was the weekend. Bei Yunj went to see Old Master Qin early in the morning. Old Master Qin knew about what happened to Director Lin some time ago and asked with concern. "How has Director Lin been recently?" Bei Yunj nodded. "Pretty good, Grandpa." She had already gone to look at the house and bought a high-end apartment for Director Lin. Otherwise, if she really bought a villa, Director Lin would definitely not be able to live in it. After all, it had taken Bei Yunj a lot of time to move her into the high-end apartment. That's good. Old Master Qin smiled and looked at Bei Yunj. He sighed and said, "Our gu is so beautiful." Bei Yunj stopped flipping through the book. "Grandpa, what's the matter?" Old Master Qin rubbed his hands together nervously. "A few days ago, Lang came looking for me. He said that there's a family game competition and he hopes that I can participate. Then you should participate." Bei Yunj said slowly. She remembered that Old Master Qin and Qin Lang had fallen out a lot because Qin Lang had taken the path of esports. This time, it was probably Qin Lang who wanted to improve his relationship with the old master. Why don't you go? This is something you young people like to play. How can an old man like me play games? Old Master Qin looked at Bei Yunj eagerly. "Grandpa, I'm about to take the college entrance exam. How can I have so much time?" Bei Yunj said with a smile. Old Master Qin, no matter who said this, it would sound like it was the case. But when it came from his granddaughter, it was a little too perfunctory. "I don't need much time. Anyway, if I lose, your third brother is useless." Old Master Qin was too stubborn. Chapter 353. Bei Yunj's eyebrows twitched as she rubbed the cover of the book with her fingertips. She was not interested in this kind of thing that appeared in the public eye. Suddenly, the phone rang. Bei Yunj immediately stood up. Grandpa, have a good rest. I have something to do, so I'll go back first. Seeing that Bei Yunj refused, old Master Qin could only watch her leave. After Bei Yunj walked out, she saw that the person who called her was Zhong Xinglin. Zhong Xinglin did not say much over the phone. He just asked her to come to the institute. At the Computing Institute. The moment Bei Yunj entered, she entered the laboratory and saw Zhong Xinglin's serious expression. What's wrong? This was the first time Bei Yunj saw Zhong Xinglin looking for her so anxiously. There's something wrong with this chip. Zhong Xinglin's gaze stopped on the sealed chip. His expression did not look too good. Something was sent over just now. It's for you. For me. Bei Yunj glanced at the cardboard box at the side and saw that the recipient was indeed her. Recipient, however, this mail was obviously not sent by a regular courier company. Because there was no sender. Bei Yunj's eyes flickered. She laughed again and prepared to open the cardboard box. Why don't you not touch it first? Zhong Xinglin stopped Bei Yunj, afraid that there was something messy inside. It's okay. Bei Yunj picked up the scissors and slowly opened the cardboard box. The moment the cardboard box was opened, the rotten smell inside filled the air. Inside was a tongue that had been cut off and a pair of bloody eyeballs. 1/18-inch goof. Zhong Xinglin's expression changed. He immediately wanted to throw this scary thing out. Let Ji Yiqing deal with this thing. Bei Yunj's upturned eyes were slightly suppressed. She did not show any emotion. She found the tape and sealed it again. No one knew if this was one of those people who had died in the dark. But now, it was clear that through the undiscarded chips, those people knew that Ji Yiqing and the others were asking for help from the Computing Institute. He was also threatening. However, they didn't dare to go too far and didn't want to compete with the Computing Institute. After all, offending these people at the top of the computer field would not end well. It was very likely that they would end up in a life and death struggle. You'd better not interfere in this matter. Zhong Xinglin frowned. He was still worried about Bei Yunj's safety. The thing he didn't want to see the most still happened. Bei Yunj's beautiful eyebrows curved slightly. She chuckled slowly, but her anger gradually grew. Where did all these ignorant people come from? After saying this, Zhong Xinglin had an inexplicable premonition that some things were going to be tricky. Elder Zhong, ask Ji Yiqing to send me a copy of their information. I want all of it. Bei Yunj curled his lips at Zhong Xinglin. His smile did not reach his eyes, but it sent chills down one's spine. Okay. Zhong Xinglin had a feeling that Bei Yunj was going to cause a big commotion again. The huge patent fee last time and the maps of the gods later had already become surrounding news in the circle. Now, new gossip had popped up again. Scientific research upstarts and terrorists fighting each other in a bizarre manner. It was really puzzling. How could this ancestor's temper be so bad? I still have to remind you that this matter is too dangerous. Chapter 354. For now. Other than the Computing Institute in our nation and the internal staff of the Computing Institute, very few people knew that it was Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj thought for a moment. I'll be careful. Zhong Xinglin was speechless. Did he mean that she should be careful? He was telling her not to get involved, all right. However, compared to Zhong Xinglin, who had racked his brains, Ji Yiqing heaved a long sigh of relief when he received the news. Finally, he managed to invite her over. Will she really help us? Ahui was also very curious about this person. Although there were many people in the scientific research field who had high praises for her on the internet, this person had not even revealed her face. She has already asked us for a copy of the information. Ji Yiqing also felt that things were a little different from the plan. He kept feeling that her initial actions were a little too fast. It was not until quite late that Bai Yunj left the computing institute. For the past few days, she had been deliberately avoiding a certain someone. However, the person who was avoided was not in a hurry. Instead, he patiently waited for the young lady to stop being awkward. At the dining table. Yun Yun. The man suddenly called out. Bai Yunj instinctively looked up. Yes. Immediately. Before Bai Yunj could react, the man's slender and well-defined hand was already close to her cheek. He casually tucked her black hair behind her earlobe. The ticklish contact made Bai Yunj inexplicably shiver. When she looked up, she accidentally met the man's dark eyes. She instinctively looked away, as if her gaze had been burned. However, the man chuckled and said casually, "Your hair fell into the bowl." Bai Yunj was speechless. Why was he paying attention to other people's hair when he was eating? 187. A certain someone seemed to know what she was thinking. His gentle and noble eyes were thin and seductive. Brother likes to look at our Yunyun no matter what. Bai Yunj was speechless. Our Yunyun is cuter than other girls when she's awkward. The man smiled unhurriedly. Bai Yunj said, "Let's eat." The next day, Bai Yunj took the chip out of the glass box and examined it. "It's just a broken chip. Can't you just destroy it?" Si Qingyan couldn't help but ask as he watched from the side. Who knew? A dark light flashed across Bai Yunj's eyes, and she suddenly chuckled. It's a gift from him. It would be a waste to reject it. Before Si Qingyan could feel puzzled, he saw Bai Yunj throw the chip into the equipment and analyze the data on the computer. Isn't your system different from the one given by the institute? Si Qingyan realized the problem. Bai Yunj said lazily, "Yes, I made it myself. It's more convenient." At first, Si Qingyan had yet to understand how this was convenient, but after about 20 minutes, before he could react, he saw Bai Yunj attacking something. Wasn't this guy researching the chip just now? The next moment, Bai Yunj answered his doubts. Soon, she pulled out 2 recording files and played them. It was a recording of the conversation between the 2 spies. The second recording did not stop. Other than the conversation between the spies in the gang camp, even the conversation between Ji Yiqing and the forensic doctor was recorded. Obviously, this was a scheme by those people. That was why it was exposed. You can even do this. Si Qingyan was about to lose it. He thought that everyone was doing academic research, but what was Bai Yunj doing? Chapter 355. How did you get these 2 recordings? Si Qingyan still felt like he was dreaming. Then, he saw Bai Yunj throw the chip into the blender after copying the data. It's in their computer. Bai Yunj raised her eyebrows and said casually. Her actions were much more arrogant than those gang members who secretly recorded Ji Yiqing and the rest. Si Qingyan felt like he was living in a sci-fi blockbuster, but then he saw that this person had no intention of stopping. What are you doing again? Si Qingyan had yet to accept reality and asked stiffly. Analyzing their exact location. Let's go and eat. The system will automatically test it later. It will take some time. Bai Yunj's words made Si Qingyan feel like he was someone who had never seen the world. They were both computing students and were both in the computing institute. Why was there such a huge difference? Was this the reason why Bai Yunj was old Master Zhong's favorite? When did you learn this? Si Qingyan asked shamelessly. When I was young. I forgot a little. Bai Yunj thought for a while and said. In her previous life, Mother Pei was afraid that Bai Yunj would go out and cause trouble, so she was very strict with Bai Yunj. Bai Yunj was either in the laboratory or surfing the internet at home. However, unexpectedly, it was precisely because of this that Bai Yunj started to develop a strong interest in all fields of computing. At the same time, it also caused a huge commotion online. Si Qingyan cursed. A person who was not even 20 years old said that she was quite young. How young was she? Ha! This unfair world. The next moment, Si Qingyan, who was full of resentment, leaned over and asked sneakily, Master Pei, can you give me a copy of your system? I won't tell anyone. If you want it, go and copy it later. Bai Yunj glanced at him. If the others in the institute want it, they can come and get it. Si Qingyan shook his head crazily and said righteously, no, they can only come and get it when I'm familiar with it. Bai Yunj, then, when this specific location is detected, won't your mission be completed? Can you tell Ji Qing and the rest? Si Qingyan sighed. Technological criminals nowadays really thought that no one could deal with them. She even tried to provoke Bai Yunj by sending over human organs. In the end, the word cowardice did not exist in this ancestor's dictionary, and no one liked to curb violence with violence more than her. What the ancient said was right. Evil people had to be dealt with by evil people. What's the hurry? Their headquarters are at the border area of country R. It will take some time to deal with them. Bai Yunj chuckled. His eyes were cold. Si Qingyan's eyelid twitched. He had underestimated Bai Yunj's vengeful nature. They had already set their sights on the gang headquarters, afternoon. In the director's office. Zhong Xinglin was sitting on the sofa pouring tea when he saw Si Qingyan walk in distractedly. What's wrong? Gu has solved the chip's problem. Si Qingyan was speechless. Yes. Does that chip have any other uses other than monitoring? Si Qingyan said, I don't know either. Zhong Xinglin stopped what he was doing. Then how did she solve it? She used the chip's data to hack into the gang's computer and even obtained the complete recording of the undercover. With that said, Zhong Xinglin's hand trembled and he almost spilled the tea. She was doing this in the morning. Zhong Xinglin froze. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.